What is up, YouTube? My cow.
What is
And that time it wasn't me, guys. That was Mr. MCF this time, checking the audio. So, thank you guys for joining us here tonight, kicking off another brand new week here at MyCowboysFamily. So make sure on your way in to take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop into the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
MCF in the house, guys. MCW, the Cowboy family. As we open this up here, we got some new names to shout out for
we do.
Making the world go around here on My Cowboys Family. The experience here in MCF, repping that navy blue silver to and star over
Cowboys always.
everything here in MCF. So, baby, as we enter tonight here, starting a new week here, it's Tuesday. It's kickoff and also for the week, and also OTAs kicked off yesterday. We'll talk about that and so much more here. Draft, Dak spoke. Stephen Jones broke down some insight about some contracts like CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs and much more. Talking about here tonight on My Cowboys Family. So hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, and let's shout out those people that make the world go around. Before we even get anywhere, I want to shout out Mark Hovsepian, 100 points, fully loaded on that stream boss, and he's entering his 8th straight week of dominance up there.
9, actually.
Stream
boss.
Yeah. I'm saying he finished 8th week, so yeah, he's entering his 9th week here. But his 9-week streak has been broken by the man Snug X, who is our sponsor of the week. Yes, we had 8 weeks in a row of great dominance from Mark Hovsepian, the all-time record holder as our sponsor of the week, 15 in a row. The second best ever right now is now 8 in a row by Mark Hovsepian, but that streak has ended. Will he start a new one? I don't know, but we know a guy who definitely is on a new streak, and that's Snug X, who tore it up. It was a great battle. You guys were here on Sunday. You saw a classic, a true legendary epic live stream on My Cowboys in our history. So again, records breaking. Appreciate you guys, and the interaction was fantastic with the mock draft, which we posted on all social media. So check that out. But man, appreciate you guys. The battle at the end there, and listen, skeptical fan Jason Renfro in the battle. Of course, much love to them. But it was Snug X and Mark Hovsepian battling out left, right, left to the end. Snug X came up the winner on this battle. The other 8 weeks in a row, it's been Mark winning them. So Snug took it over, not just in the sponsor of the week side, baby. He's also the king of that cash app.
That's right.
Snug X, man. He is the king there. He took it from Jason Renfro, broke that streak. So again, guys, Snug X, just the takeover is real. Mark Hovsepian is still running the stream boss as he's been doing for 8 weeks. And we'll see what happens. Now, in the cash app, it is currently, for the new week, empty.
Yeah.
Up above our heads, the leaderboard this week, kicking it off a new week tonight, obviously, it's empty. So it's a new week, new winners. We'll see what happens. Snug X running the boards, and of course that the stream boss over here, Mark Hovsepian, Hawaii Mark, running that. So on that note, baby, now I'll give it to you, and let's find out. Before we find out who's in the house, we're still trying to get the memberships and all that super chat stuff back. But
yeah, in the meantime,
just so you guys know,
there's only a few ways to support the channel in the meantime.
4 ways to be exact, and here they are.
4 for Dak. But of course, the cash app there. Money sign My Cowboys Family. You have your Venmo link at My-Cowboys-Family. The regular PayPal link, of course. And if you want your message to show up right here on screen, live, taking down Mark Hovsepian, Stream Boss, that Streamlabs link is the way to go.
So there you go. Those are the options. It was stretched and utilized the last couple of nights. So appreciate everybody who partake in that Sunday stream and last week's streams here on My Cowboys Family. Entering a new week here, new information as we're down the home stretch here of draft, guys. It's 10 days away, not even, and we can't wait here at My Cowboys Family. We're 9 days away. Yeah. I guess if you're watching this though in replay, it'll be 8 days away. It'll be it's next Thursday. So we're gonna maybe have one more mock draft, but maybe not. We'll see. It just depends what we can do this week and into next week, and of course. We got a lot to discuss when it comes to the draft, though, and other things about our Dallas Cowboys tonight.
Of course. So, as we get rolling here tonight, guys, there are some people we always have to shout out. That's you guys right here in the chat. So thank you very much to everybody here hanging with us so far. We have Daniel Berry. What's up? Much love. Happy Splenda Papi.
DB now.
What's up? Joey Vila. We have DBs. Bruce, got the Toxic Juice representing. Much love to you. Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Stammy Soltis, much love. Hello and hi. By the way, Bruce got the Toxic Juice wanted to know what punter are we picking up in the first round?
No punters, but hey, you know that guy Moody from Michigan, we did our mock draft. He was picked up in our 7th round. I have another mock draft that tells us from somebody who's predicted our guys a lot here. We're going to discuss his mock draft, and he has us taking that same kicker from Michigan in the 5th round. We'll discuss.
So we'll have to see, right? Mike Aldana, much love. What are we focusing on tonight? He said.
It's in the title.
I hate to say draft, but obviously, yeah.
Draft is definitely
lots
big.
Of draft stuff,
but there's there's a lot of Cowboys specific news today from Stephen Jones and Dak Prescott. It gives you a little insight what the Cowboys are doing and not what they like and don't like so far this season with Dak and the offense, and other news with Jalen Hurts. Of course, we'll talk about that, and of course Stephen Jones telling us about contracts, extensions,
basically why the Cowboys made some of the moves that they have made so far.
We'll discuss it, and he does a little draft too. We'll talk about it all here at MCF.
Skeptical fan always staying skeptical. Hope your movie was well or fun. Madman, hello and hi. Yes, kicking things off now. We have Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett, of course. Let me see. Beast mode, what's up? Sorry, I was like halfway reading another comment there. So what's up? Much love to you. And yes, it is kind of interesting. Again, that's one of the reasons why, at least for us, we never did a mock draft like too early into the offseason, because even just in the last week, so many things feel like they've changed, so we'll have to see. And of course, just even the last few days, we've seen the Cowboys being associated with a few different players.
So we did our mock draft on Sunday, literally on Monday. Everyone's talking about Michael Mayer, who was one of the guys that fell through in our draft. The guy you kind of say, let's go grab, and now he's popping up in all these people's, on the news. It's the new guy now to talk about is Michael Mayer. We've been talking about him for a little bit, him and Kincaid, for a couple of weeks before everyone's talking about this now in Cowboy world. So just saying, it's all good. You guys are here. You guys got the insight. You got a little head start on everybody else when it comes to the news, info, and updates, in my opinion, at least. So as we get rolling, I don't know if anybody else in here. Everybody hit the like, subscribe, notification bell.
So far, so
that exclamation point, love, exclamation point MCF shows you how you can, welcomes you guys in and helps, remind people about the different ways of support, different ways of love, and making your voice heard here on My Cowboys Family. So let's kick it off with some NBA news. I know, listen, the playoffs are going down right now in the NBA, and I just bringing this up because, I'm a big-time Michael Jordan fan. And today, they released the results of over 100 current NBA players who were polled. So he was the best of all time, the greatest of all time, the GOAT of the NBA, in their opinion. Of the current NBA players. Now, all these guys have played against LeBron James, and LeBron James is one of those guys that was, in the final here.
He tends to dominate a lot of these lists, right?
So he's on the list. Of course, Michael Jordan on the list. I'm sure Kobe and others are on there, but right now it's really between these two guys. And the greatest of all time, according to the NBA players of current generation right now, who have all played against LeBron James, 33% said LeBron James is the greatest of all time, and 58% said that Michael Jordan is. 58% here are 100% right. I'm just going to say that. But again, some people, and it's funny to me because it's actual players that are playing against LeBron, and none of these guys have ever played against Michael Jordan. They're still saying, no, Jordan's better.
Let me clarify for everybody in the chat. Mr. MCF bitches like a crotchety old man, these kids nowadays, So, I'm just saying that, when it comes to basketball, you just like to see that the next generation is still keeping up with respecting not just their elders, but the historic.
But, I have no problem replacing Michael Jordan. It's just nobody's going to be better than Michael Jordan. Until that day comes, well, we'll talk about it. There's been guys like Kobe and LeBron that come close. No one's Michael Jordan, so I'm just going to
also, I had to put $1 in the swear jar because we were trying to keep the language a little cleaner here, and I'm the one who's messing up the most.
I've been controlling myself.
I'm messing up the most here.
So guys, listen, now moving on from basketball, NFL football, and let me just start off with a quick outside Cowboy news. It's Cowboy-centric, but it's not really. It's just general stuff here. A great thing here done by two centers for the Cowboys, one current, one former. Cowboys centers today presented, present and past, let me say that, Tyler Biadasz and Travis Frederick, of course, the great Travis Frederick. He has his own charity called Blocking Hunger Foundation, and obviously with the offensive line blocking that, he's been doing that for years. We've known about that here. Today they raised $30,000 at the Blocking Hunger Foundation event at Top Golf. And again, this was just for charity here. They are opening a 5th food pantry in the Metroplex, and he was joined by a lot of teammates, past and present. Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, a whole buttload of former and current Cowboy offensive linemen that are lesser known guys. But here's the thing, guys. Travis Frederick said this, quote, "Hunger is everywhere. It's not just big cities, it's not just small towns. It's everywhere, and the problem is in this nation. It's something we can help to work together and to solve." So again, Travis Frederick doing the great things he does, in the community.
And it's nice to see so many, like you said, current and former Cowboy players. By the way, like Tyron Crawford was there.
And again, that's not even offensive lineman, right? So you saw Cooper Rush, I think, was in the mix there too with Dak. So just saying, like a lot of great support there always for our Cowboy guys in the Cowboy City when they do Cowboy positive things.
Honestly, even again, like you said. Pretty much every single guy on the O-line with like one or two exceptions. Like we're talking like even to the Josh Balls.
Yeah, and Walesko was there. They're all there. So just cool to see them all still, the camaraderie there. Past and present. A lot of guys from the present. So now, NFL news now, kind of going back to the actual football news. All 32 NFL teams yesterday, on Monday, eligible to begin their offseason workout programs. And that started yesterday. Off-season workout programs. That's not necessarily it is OTAs, but it's also, it's kind of like the pre-OTAs. Let me put it that way. Now, a total of 26 players currently have off-season workout bonuses of at least $500,000 or more. Cardinals' Kyler Murray. Vikings edge rusher Marcus Davenport. Okay. They lead the way right now with $1 million workout bonuses. So, they want these guys on the field.
I wonder why Kyler Murray is so high on that list.
Call of Duty. I hope he's able to get on the field with that torn ACL, though. Again, he might be able to attend, but not be able to actually
He probably still has to
he's rehabbing
make
still.
gestures or whatever. I don't know.
Well, he has to show up at least. That's the point. And if not, he gets $1 million taken away. So, the Cowboys have escalators. I'm sorry, is it escalators? No, they have...
we have similar to
reverse.
That. We have
de-escalators.
De-escalators.
Yes. So, if, let's say, Dak Prescott does not show up to the offseason workout stuff, which he will, but as an example, let's say he doesn't, he would actually have to owe the Cowboys money, and it's a scientific fact. If you have a de-escalator, it works better to get the guys in than, let's say, in Green Bay, most of the guys have escalators. So if you get your money, but if you go to this workout, the off-season stuff, you get an extra $500,000 or $250,000.
So basically, it's a lot easier to tell people, hey, you're going to lose $100,000 if you don't show up than it is to say, hey, you get a bonus $100,000 if you show up, because most of them say, showing up isn't worth $100K.
Some of these guys, a lot of them do, but some don't.
When you flip it the other way, a lot of them say, you know what? Showing up is worth not losing $100K.
So that's the way the Cowboys do it. Not many teams do it like the Cowboys, but that's why you see a high percentage of Cowboy players always there at the OTAs. Contract holdout, don't matter. They're there. You got a lot of these other things going on. They don't matter. That's how the Cowboys keep their guys always around the star, which is a good thing. I like it. And just saying, so the Cowboys, this is a soft opening, so to speak, for the Cowboys, because you really can't do anything for 2 more weeks when it comes to the Cowboys, and really any team right now. The Cowboys at the start, the offseason program. So you're getting working outs. You're getting more kind of. You're able to work with the strength and conditioning team of coaches, but you can't work with the coaching staff in any way. For the Cowboys right now. Phase 1 is officially underway. That's why we are saying OTAs have begun. They kicked off yesterday. So the OTAs are underway, phase 1. Some of this stuff could be studying. Some could be, most of it's going to be working out for the players. The coaches are there putting together and finalizing the game plans and kind of getting ready
just basically getting a little familiar with the players, kind of put, like you said.
Well, then they can, no players, no contact. The coaches cannot be with the players.
Oh, true.
Just strength and conditioning coaches. The actual coaches cannot talk to the players. But the coaches are setting up the game plan going forward, because in 2 weeks they will be able to start getting on the field with the players, to actually get on the field for the phase 1 OTAs, the active portion of things. So, and they have OTA days.
I have to admit, I didn't realize that the coaches couldn't even talk to the players at that point.
There's no on-field. Let me put
I'm
this
just saying, that's good to know.
There is no on-field working out right now. When I say that they're there as an off-season workout program, it's not on the field.
Yeah, it's
in
literally
the weights.
like a workout.
It's remember we talked about when Randy Gregory came back, he needed a couple weeks of reacclimation, and same thing with acclimate to the. That's kind of what they're doing. Everybody's kind of doing now for the next 2 weeks. Every Cowboy player, but you just can't start coaching them yet. That's the thing you cannot do. So no on-field work. Players can work with strength and conditioning coaches, and they also can't work out and be coached by these guys, but those position coaches. Any new position coaches for the Cowboys, for example, Soliari, offensive line coach. All right, what's his name? Schottenheimer. Mm-hmm. These guys can meet with these players. You just can't coach them yet. You can't go out there on the field and coach them. You can talk. Any new coaches can talk to the player, but just in a general sense. They can't be saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay. Here's the installation of the plays. So they have to just keep it kind of like, hello, how you doing kind of deal. And then in 2 weeks on the field, and then they really start hitting and installing it into their brains, the offense and defense. And
haven't we lost training camp time and stuff like that for supposedly doing too much?
The mandatory OTAs, We've lost a day of those. I think we lose another one now this year because
something we did last year.
Too hard of a practice, and that's some guys weren't wearing their helmet masks or their helmet caskets, whatever. I don't know what it was. It was too hard, too much of pushing, and we lost a mandatory OTA. There was usually 4, and sometime in June we only have 3. But usually the Cowboys last year I think we had 3 out of the 4, and we only used 2. So. It is what it is, I guess. But I just wanted to let you guys know with the OTAs kicking off how this is going phase 1. It's just the players working out, and the coaches will meet with them, more in a on the field kind of installation, kind of playbook kind of way in about 2 weeks or so. All so that's just a roundabout view of what's going on in the NFL in general to all 32 teams right now, and specifically our Cowboys. I want to make sure to keep us.
I love how we're all just trying to find a way around the rules, right? Because real quick, Bruce said, "Can y'all imagine if Dak had to be persuaded to put in the work?" And I said in the chat, I'm like, he would get roasted much harder than he already is now, just because then you'd start to have to question his work ethic, which is one of his better qualities.
And he has that de-escalator, not because he doesn't have good work ethic. He has that because every Cowboy contract has a de-escalator. So the Cowboys only do it that way. So it's not about. Listen,
it's more about the fact that imagine if we had to actually kind of put the screws a little bit to get him to actually show up. That's my thing.
One thing we know about Dak Prescott, that ain't the problem with Dak. Even to his contract holdouts, he still showed up. Even when he's still a leader. So that's not to be questioned. In my opinion, Dak is that.
Like I said, that is one of his positive attributes.
To me, the de-escalator or escalator wouldn't have made a difference in Dak's contract. He gained that much money. You're the leader of your team. He's the kind of guy that's out there, first out there, last one off. So
I know. I think the whole point is, the joke of it.
I know. I'm saying if you had to, we don't have to. Dak can do that with or without these bonuses.
Yeah, Tammy's still teasing out there. They could just be the Dax, off the record. Everybody show up at Dak's house.
And they have. And they still doing that. I'm just saying they will continue to do that throughout the offseason. But let's talk about with the coaches, right? It's one thing to throw at Dak, get some timing. Another thing to get the playbook and the installation of what they're doing on offense, the concepts. That's the big deal. That's what we got to wait 2 more weeks for the coach.
Scorpio, much love.
Yes,
shout out to you. Beast Mode also throwing out there. This team is already working out in Dak's backyard. They seem hungry. The guys who are here right now, they look like they want to be there. in Dak's
Tolbert
backyard.
wants to get better. I mean, you got Brandon Cooks trying to get in tune with him. This is what we need, and I love it. But Dak always has done this, and the fact that again, coaches can't be meeting with the players, and in that coaching way, I get it, I understand that, but honestly, the Cowboys already have a head start.
Coaches are very, very busy, like you said, just trying to put everything together and getting ready for the draft. So I don't mind that they're not meeting with players or talking with them right now. They have way more important things to be doing at this very moment.
Strength and conditioning, all in on helping these guys getting in shape, getting better and ready for the off-season training program, and of course training camp a couple of months now. Sad news in the NFL. Former NFL defensive end Chris Smith, he died today at age 31. Again, former Cleveland Brown defensive edge rusher Chris Smith. And again, I don't have many details on what happened to him, but he was currently a member of the XFL Seattle Sea Dragons this year, playing with Josh Gordon.
He's only 31.
31, it's crazy.
Way too young.
Yeah, so we don't even know I don't know exactly the circumstances of things, but I'm sure we'll hear more as time goes on, and we'll open the show with a little updates on that in the future. Now, another update on a guy who almost died, Damar Hamlin. The Bills GM, Brandon Beane, told reporters that Hamlin has seen 3 different specialists, and they've all declared him, quote, fully cleared to play football again. He's working out and preparing to play.
Good for him.
So Damar Hamlin on the way back. A lot of people, it's funny, I don't see the people anymore thinking that he's not, he's a clone. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard, but they think he died of the vaccine. And the thing is that the guy's obviously alive. Now, those same people that were screaming about that, where are they? I hear crickets. Anyways, Damar Hamlin said this about returning to playing football. Quote, I've been beating the statistics my whole life, so I like my chances here. So good luck to him, guys. Again, he suffered something called commotio cordis on January 2nd. And that was, again, guys, when that happened, it's a rare cause of cardiac arrest that starts with the blow to the chest in the precise kind of spot at the wrong time, and the wrong type of the beating of the heart, like the wrong beat of the heart. And that's what happened to him. And he said, quote, I died on national television in front of the whole world. And he says, I still plan to save a generation, getting more knowledge out about this. So good luck to him, Damar Hamlin, as he proceeds to still get back playing consistently in the NFL.
Again, it sounds like the biggest issue is it wasn't any kind of actual physical problem or anything wrong with him.
Right.
It was just one of those 1 in a million. He got hit at the wrong spot, and it just the wrong electrical signals got crossed there. So thankfully he's okay, and it doesn't sound like it's going to cause him
those first responders
any kind of problem or issue.
Those first responders saved his life. The medical team saved his life, and that's what I'm most thankful for the situation.
I'm sure he'll probably get another shot in the NFL somewhere.
Well, Buffalo right now, they want to bring him back. It's not
right,
like he's...
So, no, I'm just saying that,
he's still with them.
As far as, like, what the future holds for him as far as actually playing, I just wish him the best, and I hope that he's able to...
Yeah, supposedly he's been cleared, so he's back to practicing. We'll see when he gets back to playing, but we're hoping he does. Now, former Cowboy, Savion Smith? Lions are re-signing him. They signed him. They're re-signing him after, he suffered a scary neck injury against the Patriots in his first start. When he was with the Lions, he had his first start. He was with us, but he was a practice squad guy. He's starting for the Lions, which tells you their issues. But they liked him so much, they're bringing him back. He had a neck injury in his first start against the Patriots. Had offseason, neck disc surgery. Now he's healthy, fully healthy, supposedly. Back in Detroit for another year. Good luck to him. A guy that a lot of people, and listen, I'm not naming names here, but I know a lot of people out there in the Cowboy world, YouTubing world, creator world, are starting to say, "Oh, let's sign this dude. Let's make this move." Slow the fuck down. Sorry for my language. But Quinnen Williams, guys, all-pro Jets defensive tackle, Quinnen Williams, who I love. I would love to have him on this team. Everybody who would not want to have him as our interior nose tackle, dominator, run stopper, and pass rusher inside. He's not reporting to the start of these voluntary workouts that the Cowboys, all their players are going there, right? He's not going there. He's 25 years old. He said at the end of the year he would not attend any of these offseason stuff without a new contract. He is due only $9.594 million on his fifth-year option of his rookie deal. Both sides, the Jets and Quinnen Williams, have been negotiating for the last few weeks and trying to find a solution. No solution yet. No Quinnen Williams at offseason training camps. But here's the thing, guys. You got to remember, a lot of people saying, let's trade for him. Let's get him. Guys, yes, we should. We could. We're great. And then what? He's in his fifth year.
Hey, what do we do after that?
He said he wants a new deal. He is seeking a $23 to $25 million a year deal on his next contract.
Yeah, think of the difference between him and, receiver from Arizona.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins, who basically,
he doesn't want to change
made
anything.
It very publicly known. He's like, we'll play for current contract price, which is surprisingly reasonable, right? So he's straight up letting everybody know, I'm not looking for more money. You don't have to worry about that with me. So I'm just trying to throw that out there in the sense of, the two dichotomies in those contract
exactly. There's a difference. When you're getting one guy who's not changing his contract, the other guy who wants to, quadruple his contract. Cowboys ain't not doing that anyways, but they're doing even less to defensive tackle.
Yeah, it's a little tricky in the NFL, as always, being a guy who's looking specifically to get paid just because...
he is worth it. It's not... The problem is not he doesn't get paid. The problem is that the Cowboys will never pay someone at that position that kind of money, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even double fucking digits. I'm going to be real. So... Anybody who's saying we should get Quinnen Williams, we should, we could. I would love to win $1 million today. It ain't happening. What's going to happen is he's not looking good there in New York, and someone's going to get a deal on him, but then they got to pay him, and the Cowboys ain't going to do that. Another deal went down today, a definite deal that went down. Allen Robinson, receiver that was with Jacksonville with the Bears, now he's with the Rams this past year. Steelers traded for him. They traded for wide receiver Allen Robinson and a 7th-round pick. Pick number 251 for them. The Rams get a 7th-round pick back, pick number 234. Makes no sense, right? Steelers getting Allen Robinson and a 7th-round pick, and the Rams are getting back just a 7th-round pick, 20 picks higher in the 7th round? They're flipping 7th-round picks and giving away.
That's going to make quite the impact, huh?
They're giving away Allen Robinson, right? The Rams are paying $10.25 million of Robinson's salary. The Steelers are paying the remaining $5 million. He's scheduled to be in Pittsburgh for his physical on Wednesday, and he's going to probably want another deal. To me, I don't know what the Rams are doing. If it feels that they got fleeced, they're paying $10 million, and they're going 20 spots up in the 7th round and giving away their player.
Let me throw out there one or two things.
It's salary cap, but future.
To me, it can't just be the cap situation. I'm assuming because of their, let's be honest, their kind of offensive situation in general. Yes, they can try to hold on to as many weapons and pieces as possible, or they can try to semi-blow things up a little bit and try to restructure, restart, reconfigure. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure it out from outside of that because, like you said, it feels like they almost wanted to like purposely get rid of him. Maybe it's more of like I don't want to say personal thing, but just maybe something wasn't vibing. Maybe it's an internal issue because there's no way you're gonna take a hit like that necessarily, at least in my mind, unless you're like you said, like there's some motivation within the Rams side that wants to move on from him for that price situation. They basically gave him away, and they're still paying for him. I think it also
could be a future thing too, because his future contract could be an issue. I'm not sure what it is, but if it is a little bit expensive next year, they also get out from underneath that. Steelers have to take that hit, but either way, it seems
it still feels weird to say that they're saving money by taking a $5 million cap hit for a player that's not going to play a single snap for them.
Well, there you go. That's what's going to happen. So thinking about the Rams, they only have one right now going into the draft. They have one quarterback on their roster. That's Matthew Stafford. They don't have any other backups or nothing. They don't have a punter. They don't have a kicker on their roster. I'm just letting you guys know. That's something.
That's why I said that. Because of their maybe precarious situation, they said, "Fuck it. Let's not try to hold on to any talent that we don't necessarily need to."
Put money in the jar for that. Yeah. Another one.
They didn't hear that one.
So I'm going to say this now. Quentin Williams, his agent is Nicole Lynn. One of the most famous female agents out there, and she's also, if you sound familiar, the last couple of days you've been hearing her name because her number one, client is Jalen Hurts now. Eagles, and you guys know this yesterday. Eagles signed Jalen Hurts to a 5-year extension. They agreed to terms on a 5-year, $255 million contract extension. It makes history as the highest paid player in the NFL, in NFL history. So, congrats to the Eagles for that, right? But he got to the Super Bowl, so you can't be like he's a waste of money necessarily. But that is the quarterback contract range right now. And I'm gonna break it down for you guys real quick, and then show you how we're gonna go into the Cowboys how
does that actually break down?
Yeah, right? So it's gonna go into Dak and kind of go how that's gonna what's gonna be the effect of this, because there's gonna be an effect. So his agent, and by the way, he has like a whole staff. His whole staff is female. So it's first all female agent staff there, and Nicole Lynn, she negotiated this deal, which includes $179.304 million in guarantees and a no trade clause. Now remember, our only no trade clause was who? Only no trade clause was who?
Dak?
Yeah, and this is the Eagles' first ever in their history, first no trade clause. Again, you got to remember, it's not like that we're moving mountains for these quarterbacks. This is the way it's going to be for every team from here. It's going to be every team's first no trade clause ever, So for the Eagles, their first no trade clause because their biggest quarterback they've signed, and every quarterback's going to pretty much get a no trade clause. I'm trying to think
of a player outside of QB that would be able to demand a no trade clause.
Micah Parsons? I don't know, maybe.
No, I think it's a genuine question.
Yeah, it is. But again, this is a first for the Eagles in their history, as it was for the Cowboys when we signed Dak. This monster deal for the Eagles includes $15 million in incentives. So, if you look at the $15 million laid off over these 5 years, here's the deal, guys. He can earn up to it's $51 million a deal average, $51 million a year deal average for Jalen Hurts, new money. But he can earn up to $54 million in new money with those incentives, and up to $274.304 million throughout the whole length of his contract till 2028. It also includes $4.3 million that he could get in the last year. Well, I'm sorry, not back, but he's going to basically some of the money he's getting back in his last year is off of the original rookie contract. They're just moving numbers around. I'm telling you, Howie Roseman did a great job here. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, they can't sign anyone. Well, again, people have to understand, have we had the Joneses play the family here, the Cowboy family, not us, but I'm saying the Cowboy fan base, and they say, oh, we can't sign anyone. And then everyone's like, yeah, it's all Dak's fault. The Eagles are saying, watch us sign people, because look at what we're going to do with this contract going forward. And that's the difference between the Cowboys front office and the Eagles front office. Now, Hurts gets $110 million fully guaranteed at the signing, which, by the way, third most all time. I think Dak had like $80 million. People were shitting bricks of that. Yeah. So Hurts gets $110 million fully guaranteed, third most ever. $126.5 million in fully guaranteed before year 2, which is the second most in history. He also gets a raise this year in the sense of instead of getting I think he was going to get like $8 million this year, he's going to get $23.294 million in the signing bonus. And again, like I said, signed through 2028 on a deal that truly lets the Eagles keep options available. Now, yes, there's going to be a point they got to pay the piper. But just like the Dak Prescott contract, while the Cowboy fans are fighting about we can't sign anyone this year because we signed Dak, those are the people that didn't understand contracts. And that's why we've been saying it's going to, all this money for the next couple of years of Dak's contract, for the next 3 years of Dak's contract, we're going to be paying minimal price for a quarterback. Minimal. And when you look at that, you're looking at $17 million, $20 million, $21 million, $24 million this year. Come on. So again, keep that in mind when you look at these next years of Jalen Hurts' contract. This year, he's going to hit the cap for $6.15 million. Next year, $13.56 million. 2025, $21.77 million. And 2026, $31.77 million. Now next year, Dak's going to probably hit the cap for maybe $28 million when we take out the restructure and all that stuff and push it down the line. But that money adds up, right? You got 2 more years on his deal left in 2027 and 2028. What are those cap hits? Well, those weren't really announced. I wonder why. Now, again, these are voidable years. It's a 5-year extension off of the 2023 rookie ending deal. The 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28. Those are the 5 years. And those last 2 years are voidable contract years. Now, listen. There's still, after these 4 years, there's still $181 million left of his contract in 2 years. So unless there's some kind of a change here in the way this cap has been designed and these hits for Jalen Hurts, right now it looks like almost $90.5 million in 2027 and 2028, $90.5 million cap hit for Jalen Hurts. If you were to look at it just straight up without looking at any kind of moves, obviously that's going to be easily a third of the salary cap for the Eagles those 2 years. And again, they could get a little more creative with it. And in a way, if you look at this, you can see them possibly lessening the hit, maybe even throwing an extra year or two. So they only pay 81 and only pay $76 million. I know it sounds crazy. And then they'll have almost $30 million of dead cap money till 2030. So I'm just saying, like, the Eagles going to have some problems on the cap, but it's going to be minimalized by the fact that the cap keeps growing, even though they got to pay a large cap hit for Jalen Hurts towards the end of his contract. That looks like it's going to have to happen. So the contract is designed to kick the can down the road, get a cap relief off the quarterback for a 3 to 4 year span. But the Cowboys didn't take advantage of that. They played the fans
and you know
against each other.
It sucks because, again, it's not like we can go there and like force their hand. You know, if the Cowboys don't strike while the iron's hot, we're all just kind of stuck here watching everybody else cook.
The Eagles are smart, though. They beat out the other deals out there to get this extension done with Jalen Hurts, because all the other deals are going to be more than Jalen Hurts, including Dak Prescott's extension. So again,
you know, obviously Hurts' contract is going to affect that, and also, you know, makes Dak's money situation, I think, look a little bit more favorable, considering that now 2 of the 4 teams in the NFC East are about to drop or need to drop a good chunk of change on their QBs regardless.
Yeah, I mean, any quarterback that's worth keeping, you have to be dropping $40 million or more easy. That's at the low end of quarterbacks.
Yeah, and
going forward,
that's basically what Daniel Jones got, more or less.
Daniel Jones got $40 million. Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. Who's up next on these contracts I mean, Dak Prescott could be a guy on the extension list here, but you got Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow, and you add those 3 to the mix here. Dak falls out of the top 10 right now. So Jalen Hurts, $51 million a year. Aaron Rodgers, $49 million a year. Kyler Murray, $46.1 million a year. Deshaun Watson, $46 million a year. Patrick Mahomes is a steal, $45 million a year. Josh Allen, $43 million a year. And then Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, $40 million deals with Dak Prescott, $40 million a year.
Beast Mode throwing out there that I think durability is going to be the biggest risk to the Eagles.
It reminds me of Zeke.
Can Hurts actually physically...
It reminds me of Zeke.
Up long enough for the Eagles to get value out of his contract.
If they run Hurts the way that they've been running him, I don't think of it as Zeke like a running back, but in a couple of years he will eventually have the little bang here, a little bruise there, and that's going to take his wear and tear down on him. So I agree with that. You know, Jalen Hurts right now, his new money right now, again, $51 million per season. This is going to impact Dak Prescott's contract extension wherever he goes, whether in Dallas or somewhere else, in a good way for him. He still has 2 years remaining, this year and next year for Dak Prescott. But averaging $40 million a year right now, he's actually third in the NFC East in a way. Hurts is number 1. Daniel Jones just signed for $40 million. I'm going to say a hair over $40 million. And Dak at $40 million. Just saying, Dak's like the third highest paid quarterback in the NFC East. So people that bitch, just wake up. Now again, that's the situation with Dak. I think that, obviously the sooner you get an extension done, if you're sure about that quarterback,
it makes more sense than sitting there and waiting. But not to necessarily play devil's advocate because I want to or anything. In the Cowboys' defense, we have a few other contracts that you could say are more of a priority. And we already have Dak basically locked down. That's why we have these contracts. I'm just saying that if we chose not to do it this year, I understand.
And we're not paying an extra $2 million a year if we wait another year or something like that, or $5 million more a year.
So, and honestly, outside of that, I think that I would love to see the Cowboys put themselves in a position where they're like, I don't care how many Super Bowl bonuses or whatever, we got to pay Dak because he got us there or he got us to that spot we wanted. You know what I mean? Like, I think at that point, the Cowboys would be more than happy to renegotiate the contract because I actually think this upcoming year, the Cowboys we're kind of back to square one. I think the Cowboys are putting Dak to the test, right? McCarthy's running the offense. We're, obviously clearly bringing in a variety of weapons and pieces and all this stuff. So it's almost like, Dak, show us what you've got so we can see the value of your extension.
Yeah, going forward. Exactly. Yeah, because we understand the value now we got from him.
We paid him. We locked him down. Right. He definitely deserved what he got. But the way that contracts are structured nowadays, like you said, we're at the evaluation era of Dak when it comes to his contract. Yeah. And the way that we reshuffle this extension, it could be something where we're still looking to move on from him after like a year or two. That's why we, did it, or we're looking to extend him longer, or we're like, I'm just saying, like, there's lots going into that.
There's obviously his biggest investment on your team is going to be the highest paid player, which is right now Dak Prescott.
See, Monroe Godet said it. The Joneses are still waffling on the issue of whether Dak is the guy, and I do think they believe in him. I just think they want to see where he can take this team that we currently have now. One of the big reasons Kellen Moore was even allowed to have as much free reign was because of Rain Dakota Prescott. Like, that's true. I'm just saying that was a symbiotic relationship there. So, I do think we are in a kind of a bit of a turning point, right? Like, no ultimate decisions have been made, but the Joneses are definitely watching there. Now, I do have to take a second to shout out the man, of course, the sponsor of the week. Huge shout out to you, SnugX. Much love. Thanks for being here, guys. Make sure to give him a shout out in the chat. He's not just the sponsor of the week. He is the Cash App King.
Much love, man.
Much love to you, Snug. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody
here. Takeover by Snug.
Hang with us right now, by the way. Take a second to hit like, sub it up, hit the bell. Follow us anywhere and everywhere on all social media at MyCowboysFamily. And yes, only a few ways to kind of show the love and the support in the meantime. If you want to take down Marco Sepian's
he's got 100 points up there.
That Streamlabs link is the way to do it, but you can also do it through the Cash App, the Venmo, and of course our regular PayPal.
Remember, message on the screen, it's like the super chat, so that's the way you can get your voice heard here.
Yes.
Still,
thank
even
you,
without
Scorpio.
super chat.
Much love to you, dropping those links. So
appreciate you guys.
Tammy Sotis throwing it out there. Kellen Moore was jealous of Dak, in my opinion. Dak took his job in a sense, and then Kellen Moore, because, I know. Kellen Moore was hurt when Romo got there, so Dak just stepped up and never looked back.
I don't think he was jealous. I just think that he knows he can't play quarterback in the NFL, Kellen Moore. I don't think he had any dreams anymore at that point once he's like the third quarterback and really the fourth. I think he knows he had a better chance as a coach than a football player at that point.
Texas Twister, much love. Drums and Cowboys saying, if Dak doesn't get us to an NFC Championship game this year, even his most loyal defenders won't have any excuses. And you know what? Even if Dak isn't necessarily the reason, it will probably end up being that he ends up getting a big chunk of the blame there. Short of us losing our whole O-line in one swift motion.
I'm going to wait to make that decision. If the Cowboys don't make it, it's because there was a player that's not Dak Prescott who fumbled or maybe made a mistake on the field that cost us the game.
What I'm trying to say is that it does not matter who, what, when, where, why. It will go back to Dak because he is the quarterback, and the Cowboys also, I don't think, will care all that much.
I think if that someone misses a tackle on defense, I think that if it's a close game, a tough fought game, but yet and then CeeDee Lamb fumbles the ball or Pollard fumbles, I'm just saying that. It will not be on Dak on my mind, is my point. I don't care what anybody else says.
What's up,
if Dak's been running the show, then I think that, if he hasn't had any major issues, why are you going to blame a playoff loss that has nothing to do with Dak? It's not the Dak Cowboys. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Anyways, yes, Mark Hovsepian.
Have you been watching? It is the Dak Cowboys.
It is not to me. And any logical Cowboy fan, they know it's the Dallas Cowboys. Much love, by the way, to everybody, but especially Snug X in the house, Mark Hovsepian in the house. If you guys missed it on Sunday, we talked about it in the beginning of the stream. Humbled by these two fantastic family members. They rocking the spot here. We can't express how much we appreciate you guys, so thank you again. Yeah. And appreciate both you guys here rocking the spot here, dropping your knowledge in the chat.
The final Dak-related comment before we move on from this real quick, because Mark Smith said, Kellen ruined Dak by turning him into a QB that relied on the pass instead of the rookie Dak that protected the ball, took what the defense gave him, and then relied on the run game.
You know what's funny about that? Because the guy who started that was Scott Linehan, who kind of said, we're going to kind of bring everything back. Romo's gone. We're not going to expand the playbook. We're going to bring it back in and just make Dak a kind of a game manager, right?
Which again, for his rookie year, worked really well. But then Linehan couldn't adapt and expand from that a little bit more.
I think that first year, remember, offensive line was our last fantastically highly rated offensive line we had. It was in 2016. We had Zeke in his rookie year. Dak, of course, in his rookie year, but managed better. And the next year, what happened? What did Linehan do? You guys remember what Linehan did? Forget about the receiver by committee. That was a disaster. But he also expanded the playbook for Dak Prescott. And then at the same time, receiver by committee. That's where we failed him. And it started with Linehan, and Kellen Moore was underneath him at that time and took it forward once he took over in 2019 as our coordinator. So Kellen Moore, he always learned from Linehan and Garrett, and I think that Linehan screwed it up from the beginning because he went away, opened the playbook to a point where it wasn't even fair that quickly to open it up for Dak, and then go no receivers. And you got Terrence Williams as your number one, you're in trouble. So this combination of things, I think, hurt some of the development and development of Dak, the evolution of Dak. But I can't go back over crying over spilled milk. Whatever happened. Dak has to adjust himself now going forward.
That's that now.
Yeah. So, and by the way, Dak Prescott spoke today. You can't even pass up Dak because Dak, one of the people that spoke. Jalen Hurts' contract. He was asked about Jalen Hurts' contract. And he said this, quote, "Congratulations to Jalen Hurts. I'm proud of him. I'm a fan of the way he plays the game. Not a fan of the team he plays for. But when they have, and I'm not a fan of their team when they have success necessarily, but I'm a fan of Jalen. He does deserve every bit of that new contract." And then he was asked about Lamar Jackson's situation, his contract. He said, quote, "I support those guys getting their money. Hopefully he's next, and hopefully he tops Jalen."
There you go. We love that energy. Thank you so much, Mark. Mahalo to you.
Mark Hovsepian in the house.
Kicking things off officially tonight with a $3
That's actually
holler.
Not only tonight, baby. That's the first drop of the week. The $3 Brandon Cooks drop, and he's in first place on the overall board. What did Mark Hovsepian say? Maybe he's kicking this thing off.
So Mark said, Dak has had very complete teams with a ton of weapons and just can't seem to beat better teams. If there's some major injury, then you can't blame Dak. But if the measure is $50 million for a QB like Dak, then you say bye-bye.
And that's what I think you said earlier. This is the time to kind of reevaluate Dak's situation with the Cowboys.
Financial value when it comes to the contract and what he's done for us and all that stuff. Because, I mean, like I said, to me, in my mind, my point is that if Dak is the problem, obviously that makes it more clear and more easy for the Cowboys. But it does not matter if Dak is or is not the problem. Because at the end of the day, a Dak-led team could not get past the metrics that the Cowboys are looking for. So they will use that, regardless of the reason. They is in our front office, right? Like, they will use that to their advantage when it comes to negotiations, the same way that, I'm sorry, of course they will.
No, of course they will, but I think that you're assuming that if we don't win the division, it's on Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys, I
don't know how many more ways I can make it clear. Like I said, Dak himself could lead the charge every single game for the rest of the fucking season. And the second we hit the playoffs, like I said, we could lose our entire offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys will not give a flying fajita. Okay?
Maybe.
They're going to say, Dak, you were leading this offense and did not get us.
What if the problem's the defense in that game in the playoffs? I mean, they can say what the front office can say whatever the hell they want.
It could be.
Smart fans got to be smart. And you just got to be smarter than the front office, and they not too smart.
I think at that point, it depends on how well McCarthy or possibly others can argue to make a case either for or against Dak. Because also, like, what if even McCarthy's like, you know what, you guys want to move on from him, fine, or whatever.
I think it's the other way around. I think McCarthy's the buffer for Dak Prescott for the Joneses. McCarthy's the blame.
I agree.
And I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm saying that's what's happening. You talk about what they're setting up for McCarthy to get out, not Dak. I'm just schooling you guys. That's what the Joneses are doing. They're playing the examining him game this year, but if there's a falter in the offense, they're going to blame McCarthy, whether it's Dak or not. So I think you got it wrong. I think one more year. I think next year after that, it'll be on Dak.
We will have to agree to disagree. But if we move on from McCarthy after this year, then Dak's coffin was already
but that makes Dak's contract. That makes Dak's contract. That could also say, well, we're going to give you less too. Or Dak can say, well, listen, I'm not the problem. McCarthy's the problem. You guys got rid of him. I'm saying Dak's going to play that game too, negotiations. And, I do agree. If it's, to me, it's not about if we win or lose to me. For me personally, I know the Jones are going to sell whatever they want to sell. I don't care what they sell. I know what I see. I know what we're seeing. And if I see mistakes on defense or a dropped pass in an end zone that's perfectly thrown by Dak or a fumble by Tony Pollard, Jones can say it's on Dak. I don't care. Only the dumb fans will believe that. The smart fans will say, oh, I just saw this guy drop the pass. Oh, I saw this fumble. Oh, I saw that bad defense in this game. And that's where the blame should go if it's a game in the playoffs. If it's a whole season of up and downs, then it's up to the Jones if they want to pay him the money. Then they can use that as the example.
Right, so one final question or final point I will make.
Yeah, I like
How
this.
many times have you in your life taken crap?
I'm listening.
Right? For something that you didn't do, you had no responsibility for. Heck, you might not have even been there. But you are responsible by association, let's say. Like, let's say your older sibling, right?
I agree.
Gets into some trouble. Your parents don't care that you were in your room playing. You are getting in trouble just as much, even though you weren't even involved or whatever. So all I'm saying is Dak Prescott is the sibling who was in his room chilling, having a grand old time, while his other sibling took Sharpie all over the walls or something, okay? All I am saying is it does not matter who is actively responsible for the success or the failure. The Cowboys will have predetermined it based on the overall success or failure
then it will look
by
worse
that metric.
If the
defense fucks up and we somehow don't make it past a single game in the playoffs, do you think that's going to matter when it comes time to figure out what we're going to do with Mike McCarthy?
I mean, McCarthy is
McCarthy's
on the hot seat. Been on it for a couple of years. I'm just trying to say it's a different situation than Dak Prescott, which is their favorite guy. That's their guy is Dak Prescott. Mark dropping that $3 holler.
Much love.
Cooking it up.
To you.
What did the man say? Oh, it's a different Mark. It's Mark 2007.
Mark 2007, much love. He said, 2007, I think we played the Vikings. Romo was sacked 8 times. He hit another 20. The defense gave up 35 points. Our running backs averaged like 2 and 3 yards, and he had Roy Williams and Austin as receivers. And they still blamed Romo.
Okay, I mean, and that's messed up. And I think I was one of the people that probably didn't blame Romo. Now, if Romo's throwing interceptions at the end of the games, that's on Romo. But I'm just saying, like, Romo is a different kind of quarterback than Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is a guy that plays to how the coaches tell him to play. I think Romo's a guy who plays the way he wants to play. He changed plays. He created things on his own because Linehan's cloned some crap-ass plays. And I don't know, 2007, I know it wasn't Linehan. It was, what was it? It wasn't even Garrett yet, was it? My point is that it was...
Wasn't it Wade?
No, he was a head coach, but Garrett was on the horizon. In 2009, I think he took over fully as the coach.
Yeah, but 2007, I'm pretty sure was a Garrett-led offense.
My point is that it is more about the way that Romo plays to kind of take over the game calls and take over the flow of the game. And Dak does not do that. For better or for worse, that's the different kind of quarterbacking they have. Now, I just want to say one thing about your Sharpie comment. If you have, okay, I understand if you're not in the house and one kid screws up the house and the other kid doesn't. They're both to blame, so to speak. But when you have video cameras that show you this is the problem, then you know that's the child that messed up and the other one didn't. So if Dak messes up, it's on Dak. If it's somebody else messing up,
Dak was supposed to be around. Dak was supposed to stop the kid from grabbing the Sharpie onto
How
the
will
wall.
Dak stop Pollard from fumbling? How will he stop CeeDee Lamb from not catching a pass? How would he stop defense from getting a sack?
Do I care? There's Sharpie on my walls.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's the illogical to logical difference.
No, because
that's irrational.
Again, I don't care if Dak was watching the whole time and the 2-minute bathroom break he took. That's all it took, because that's my point. They don't care. We're not talking about
if they blame him,
rational.
If they blame him
logical,
and then they sign him for $50 million. That's going to look worse. That looks like we're signing a shitty quarterback. They're not going to do that. They're going to pump him up and then deal behind the scenes with negotiating him, on the back end, sly. I'm just saying,
I know, but I feel like you didn't understand really anything I said. So let's just move on.
I do.
I think we're a little frustrated.
I'm frustrated too because I think that clearly, but it's clear that it's. I know exactly what you're saying. It doesn't matter if the kicker missed a freaking extra point for the loss. It's on Dak Prescott because that's what they're going to paint it from the front office so they can negotiate a cheaper term with him. But that looks bad.
Like I said, start the process of moving on, because guess what? Even though they signed Dak, I still have to agree with Monroe, Gadet, and a few other people in the chat. The Cowboys are still sitting here asking themselves, is Dak our guy? Yes, even after the contract, even after all of this, and we know it. Don't act stupid sitting there, especially after Steven or Jerry's comments, I can't remember which one, from a week or two ago, where they almost, even just the insinuation of it, the way they said it, I'm like, well, you can kind of take, I'm just saying, you could almost take that a different way.
You took it that way.
However it was said, because I don't know, but you know what? That's why language and words matter, because if you say something that can be taken more than one way, and one of those ways sounds really good, but the other way sounds like you're sneak dissing your QB.
I think people are too sensitive out there. That's what I think. I think the Joneses are going to want to stick. They want to stick to, damn right, the people are too sensitive out there. People have to understand that the Joneses always want to look right. They always want to look right. The last thing they want to do is put down their quarterback and then sign him for $50 million. That's the worst thing the Joneses will do.
So instead they'll fire the supposed head coach that is the Super Bowl winning head coach?
Yes, after 4 years, they will move on from him over Dak. Guarantee it. No. Guarantee, I'll bet it. Because number one, you can. Easier get out of McCarthy. So the Joneses are going to get out of that if they have to. You can,
but that still doesn't mean that they're somehow going to turn around, double down on Dak, and then...
I'm just saying that's what the Joneses do. You want to say what they do?
If McCarthy goes, that's the beginning of the end for Dak.
Okay,
that's the end for Dak, and that's the Cowboys once again making some business.
And then what happens when the Cowboys then sign Dak for $50 million? Then you're gonna be like, oh well, the Joneses are stupid.
I can't.
The Joneses are the clown show again.
I can't see them extending Dak or signing him for longer without knowing what the next plan is, personally. The same way that they wanted to see what would happen with Dak and McCarthy and all that stuff.
We can sit here all day.
Pen to paper.
We can sit here all day, but we won't know until the season's over. And then once the Jones, whether you're right or wrong, the Joneses will still sign Dak. He was the cause of it. They'll say, oh, this bad stuff, and sign him for $50 million, and then we'll all get pissed about it. And the Joneses already made up their mind, I think, to keep Dak any way possible. That's what I think.
I still feel like the Cowboys are I don't know, like I said, like a whoring husband. Unfortunately, he's got one foot out the door the whole time. Regardless of whatever he's saying, he's looking for the next one. I
just think that no matter what, the Joneses don't like to look wrong. They want to look like they made the best choices and best guys, and if they can still put it off to somebody else as to blame, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm saying that the front office will do anything to make it look like it's like Dak may be hurting the team with the money, but it's not Dak's fault because they made the great signing.
Look, if that was the case, Zeke would still be here. Anyway, real quick, I think let me go ahead.
When the running back passed the other running back, they can't. After 3 years, they can't say anything more about that. It's obvious.
But Zeke was Jerry's guy. Yeah. Jerry's hand-picked personal guy.
And he was way overpaid. Dak is not way overpaid. I'm just saying, look at the numbers now. I just say he's 12th in the NFL. He is far from overpaid. He's now average paid. Dak Prescott.
Marco Seppi, much love with the $3
holiday. He said,
Mr. MCF, Miss Amy is right. You want to argue with the mommy. Jerry Jones is an idiot. He won't make a move for another quarterback. He won't sign Dak early to save money and then wait with no substitute and then pay through the roof to get Dak.
That's what I'm saying.
Baby, that's my whole point.
That's what he's going to do.
Jerry Jones already, we are in this position because of his lack of willingness to do the smarter move. All I'm trying to say is the Cowboys are going to end up in one of two positions. They will either wait to re-sign Dak to where he will be getting that $50 million because we did well and the Cowboys are fine with doing that, or the Cowboys aren't going to do crap they will not do anything and begin the process of separating themselves from Dak Prescott, however that ends up looking for them.
We'll see. I understand at a point they will have to do that if it's on Dak. If it's obviously on Dak, like it's obviously on Zeke, then I'd say yes. It's not obviously on Dak. No matter how you slice it, they don't want to slice it that way. But even I logically cannot put it all on Dak. Dak had his issues, but it's far from on Dak. And the Joneses will say it's not on Dak at all until they have to. So, Mark, I do agree. I do know that he's the 7th tied. Actually, let me rephrase that. He's 7th, but let's be real, Mark. Tied for 7th. Actually tied for 6th because Derek Carr's in front of him, or was in front of him. I'm sorry. So now he is still 7th. Derek Carr was in front of Dak until he signed out with the Saints. But Dak is tied for 7th with Stafford and Daniel Jones. But when Lamar Jackson, Burrow, and who else was the other guy?
Hurts just got paid. I don't know how.
Yeah, there's this third guy. I just said his name. Damn, I forgot his name. Let me see if I have it here. But the 3 guys at the Cowboys.
Burrow, Jackson,
Lamar Jackson, Herbert. Yes,
true.
Herbert getting signed. Guys, when these 3 guys sign, Dak is going to be tied for 11th. Tied for 11th. Sorry. So that's average money right there. No matter how you slice it, this is where he should be getting paid as a starting quarterback. I'm going to put this in quotes: franchise quarterback. Whether we agree or not, it doesn't matter. He's the franchise quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You're getting $40 million.
Yeah, I don't think air quotes are necessary there. That's like an underline. Franchise quarterback.
I'm just saying what the Cowboys themselves, the front office, called them, and like Mark said, clown show. And in the end, that's why I don't trust them. I don't see it the way you're seeing. They're not that sleek. They're not that smart. They're not that cunning. The front office, they're idiots. What I
said is sleek or smart or any of that. Like I said, it feels like very indecisive.
It sounds.
And again, to me, it is a misstep. Again, the Cowboys messed up last time by not jumping on things early. They're doing that now. But like I said, I almost understand why they're either not necessarily choosing to wait, but just that other guys are prioritized right at this moment ahead of trying to restructure Dak. And like I said, I think it benefits the Cowboys to wait to restructure Dak one more year because I think, like I said,
it's not restructure, extend him.
Extend him because, like I said, either he does well and they feel good about extending him, and like I said, if he does even better than expected, we're more than happy to pay him all the NFC Championship and Super Bowl bonuses and blah blah blahs, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But if he does not, the Cowboys can now, with all the reasonable reasons in the world, start to gracefully separate themselves from Dak Prescott. And it's not going to lose him overnight.
I agree.
We have time to figure it out.
I agree the plan is possible. I'm just saying it's not going to be as obvious as you think it is next offseason.
Tammy, have a great night. Take it easy.
Good night. Next offseason, it's good. If it's bad and it's bad for Dak, next offseason, the Jones are going to say, we love him, we're going to work something out, and they're not. But they're not going to do it like telling you to your face, we're moving on from Dak. They're not going to make plans, like Mark said. They're not going to make plans. They're going to screw us because of exactly what he said. They don't sign him early enough. They don't sign him,
all they have to do is basically filibuster long enough. They don't really have to say anything. They can just say, yeah, we're working on it. And they're going to be working on it all freaking year. That's
what will happen if the Cowboys move on from Dak. It will not be like we're moving on from Dak because we made a bad choice. Because I'm telling you right now, that's the last thing the Jones will ever say. Marco Seppian saying, guess what, fam? I got 3 on it. That $3 Brandon Cooks holler, and he's got 100 points on that stream, boss. He's in first place on the overall board, coming back for his sponsor of the week. Snuggex holding that down right now. Mark, though, ripping it up this week, kicking it off right. What did the man say?
He said, yes, tied at 7th with, Matthew Jones. This team, as is, has more talent on it now than in the past 20 years.
Agree.
No excuses.
We
lost to a third-string quarterback in San Fran, and Dak has everything. New coaching, defense, and weapons.
Third-string quarterback, not on Dak. I don't care. That's not on Dak. That's on the defense and some of the stuff going on there. That's good offensive scheming by the Niners. Nothing to do with Dak Prescott. And then, yes, Dak had a bad game. I think the schemes were horrible. Some of the routes were run were horrible. So it's a combination of failures in that game. But us Dak losing to a third string quarterback, that's a low hanging fruit excuse. Sorry, Mark. To me, it's Dak and that offense got handled by that defense of the Niners and their combative game plan. Dak had a bad game. Gallup had a bad game. So Pollard broke his leg. It sucks, and we almost still won that game. But to me, the bigger thing was Pollard to get knocked out, changed the game. Now, Dak, I agree. This year coming up, and I'm not talking about last year, we know there was some lacking of talent. So that was a different situation. Dak last year, for him to end up, 12-5, the team end up 12-5. It's not only on Dak. that they were successful like that. It's on the team aspect. And I think Dak helped that in a major way for us to get to that spot. But can he be more consistent with the better coaching? I think he will be. If you have to rely on Dak Prescott to win you every game, he's not that quarterback. Doesn't mean he's not worth $40 million, but he's not that quarterback. That's going to win you every game. No. But give him 4 games, he'll win you one of them. Can we get three other guys to help win the other games? I don't care about the money. It's about the position. It's about the strategy and the way you match up against the opposing team. There's a weakness there, and CeeDee Lamb has a mismatch. If he drops the touchdown, it goes back to that as a bigger issue than Dak's bad pass earlier. That was incomplete and they had to punt. So I just think that it's a lot of factors here, is all I'm saying. And we'll see what happens after this year. But Dak has the talent. The offense has the talent. And guess who else has the talent? The coaching staff, McCarthy and crew. They got the talent as well.
I still would be willing to bet money that nothing happens with Dak's contract this year.
I'm with you. I agree.
I agree. Reason doesn't matter anymore. Cowboys are thinking about other guys and other things. Yeah. Dak's time will come next year. And
one of those guys, Brandon Cooks, right? One of those guys we brought into the mix here to help Dak Prescott. Dak was asked about him today. Dak recently had a throwing session with Cowboys' new wide receiver, Brandon Cooks.
Like I said it, party at Dak's house.
I'm telling you, hey, today he was on Adam Scheffler's podcast, and that's what he talked about, the Jalen Hurts contract. He also talked about Brandon Cooks. He said, quote, it was very exciting to throw to him, to throw with him today. They literally just did it today in practice. He said, quote, that guy is different. That is real speed. So now he's got a little speed bullet on the field there, and Brandon Cooks, Archer. So again, we know that Dak is getting used to Mr. Brandon Cooks, and he's loving the connection there. Dak also spoke about the possibility of Zeke returning to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, I saw a few people in the chat mentioning it.
He said, quote, that would sure be nice. There are a lot of people, not only on the team, but in the organization, that would love that. I'm sure Zeke would as well. Hopefully, that could happen. End quote. Now remember, Cowboys could have offered him less money. They didn't do that. The Cowboys could have, tried to work something out to stay in Dallas. He didn't do that. Will the Cowboys bring him back in to then cut him if he can't make the team?
It sounds like not making any kind of offers at all whatsoever was a strategic front office move, because now
to leave with respect, come back.
They can say respect all they want. They did not want to put a price tag on their offer. They're waiting for. I'm just saying, because if they offered Zeke anything, let's say that he hits the free agent market, nobody gets him, and we call him up again and say, "Hey Zeke, we want to bring you back in." At that point, if I'm Zeke, I would use that previous number that I was given, even knowing the free agent market is what it is, and still use that to leverage. Hell, even if it's $500,000 more, again, why would you F up your strategy there? So, I think the Cowboys are allowing the market to either set the price for Zeke or lower the price to a point where they can approach Zeke with a number that they feel better about starting the negotiations at.
Yeah, no,
especially if it's going to be one of those things like Zeke. Either take it or, you don't work. You don't work anywhere.
He'll work somewhere, but the point is that I don't think it'll be... The thing is with Dallas, I think that the Cowboys, their priority is not worrying about getting Zeke back to Dallas. I don't think so. Maybe Jerry Jones is the only one, but nobody else really cares too much about that right now.
Our front office feels pretty strongly that, let's say we offer him $3 million. Let's say a handful of other teams offer him $3 million.
Bye.
He might still choose to come back to the Cowboys over some of the other teams, depending on who it is that's making those offers.
Yeah, and by the way, I see some people in the chat. I do want to hit up the chat if you can. Bruce said that people blame Romo, now people blame Dak.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, Beast Mode said defense did this thing doing the Niners. They lost because of Dak and his poor decision. That's why I brought up, the third string quarterback didn't beat us, didn't beat Dak. You know what I'm saying? They had to go against our defense, and they were able to do enough to beat our defense. Now, we played perfect on defense? No, we played good enough to win? Hell yeah. And that's on Dak's poor decisions, on the poor route running by the receivers, on the poor game plan and play calling by Kellen Moore. Admit that to yourselves too, guys. Come on.
Our offense gave up too many points, because they really only scored.
Our offense. I mean, our defense.
No, our offense. Oh. Our offense. We turned over the ball like 17,000 times in that game.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, I'm just saying there's only so much our defense was going to be able to do. Our offense gave up those points. That's what put us in the deficit that lost us the game.
I mean, Dak had a bad decision because of the deep route, predictable route to CeeDee Lamb was double teamed, and he went to Gallup, who was supposed to be open better, and he ran a poor route. Dak shouldn't have thrown it. Poor route, pick, cost us points. Then later on, before the half, Pollard breaks his fucking ankle. we're about to, but we're still inside the 20. The next play is an interception. Dak threw it in the wrong spot to CeeDee Lamb. That's on Dak Prescott. So, but the whole thing is on Dak. It's on CeeDee Lamb. It's on Gallup. It's on Kellen Moore. The true foundational issue started with Kellen Moore. Some of the decision making is on Dak Prescott in the game.
I'm looking forward to seeing,
and some of the mistakes on the routes are on the receivers. So it's everybody. I'm looking forward
to seeing our new scheme. And how that directly impacts Dak, just because you have to imagine, you guys are saying it, with the new weapons we added, and now McCarthy running the ship and Kellen Moore being gone, if Dak doesn't get better under these circumstances,
I agree.
Blow up the whole team.
I agree. I mean, we'll do it differently, but yes, we got to start thinking towards a different route after this year. I 100% agree, and I know some people.
So is it any wonder why the Cowboys don't want to extend Dak this year in particular?
The reason I understand why, but I also understand they're ignorant. The Cowboy front office, and they would do it to save face. You know it, and I know it. They'll do it just to say we did it, and we did the right choice.
Saving face or saving money?
Well, there you go.
Which one matters more to Jerry? Anyway, let's kind of
That's a close one. That's a close one. Now, I'm going to say this, by the way, because if they were saving money, it makes better deals. Now, I'm going to say, again, I see Bama fans saying Dak gets a new excuse every season. I mean, when the excuse is not fully on the quarterback, you can't put it only on Dak. Don't play defense. Dak doesn't make the play calls. So, you got to, that don't run the routes. So, you got to sometimes oversee the whole picture. You just can't put it on the guy you hate the most because he's getting the most money. So, that's silly. Now, I do want to get to the offense, though, and a little peek into this West Coast offense, because that's going to be the make or break for this team this year, for Dak Prescott in the future years, and Mike McCarthy, you know it, definitely this year. So, Dak Prescott was asked about adding Bijan Robinson to this team in the draft. We're going to talk about the draft here at the end, which is coming up, but I got to talk about West Coast offense first. And Dak said this, quote, honestly, second to Mississippi State, I'm a Texas fan. So I've seen a lot of his games. He's a great, super talented guy. Not only is he great running the ball, but he has the speed and has the hands as well as the route running ability. We just talked about running routes. Yeah. You want a guy like Zeke? Bijan is the guy, but there's a couple of guys out there that's similar as well, like a Zach Evans. You can get him in the third or fourth round.
This sounds like Dak giving compliments to another player that he really likes and respects.
It's not like
Dak is ever going to shit talk anyone.
Now, as far as our current running back, and that's why I want to go to the West Coast offense, Tony Pollard, he's our starter. He's the number one guy. The Cowboys were 5-1 last year when Pollard had 4 catches or more in a game. And I say this because in the West Coast offense, boom, boom, boom. We got to get quicker, shorter passes out of the backfield screens. This is what you're going to see in a West Coast-styled 30 to 35% change on offense, according to McCarthy. So the Cowboys are also 5-1 when Pollard was targeted 5 or more times in the passing game. You throw the ball to Pollard, you target him, he catches the ball. You are going to control the game, okay? Production during Zeke's absence for those 3 weeks, week 8, 9, and 10. Pollard averaged 123 rushing yards per game. 123 yards on the ground per game. That was second in the NFL in those weeks amongst all running backs. He also was averaging 137.5 scrimmage yards per game. That means rushing and receiving. By the way, that was number 1 in that span last year in those weeks. He also, in that span, was number 1 at rushing touchdowns. He rushed for 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, he's not getting him on the goal line. He's getting him from the 20, the 15, from the 50. He's running for the touchdowns, Pollard. He's getting those big touchdowns. I'm just trying to say, you want that high-octane, high-powered playmaker? And I'm sorry to Zeke, he's not that anymore. But Pollard is that, and especially in the passing game. When you incorporate that running game into this West Coast offense, they're going to run, but you're going to throw as well out to that running back. And when you look at the West Coast offense, from the quarterback's perspective, right? This is what everyone's talking about. Dak Prescott, how will he do in this scheme? Let's talk about what is looked upon in the West Coast offense. Let's get on the same page. No. Short timing passes. You got to be able to stretch a defense horizontally. Quick quarterback reads. Boom, boom, boom. Quick throws. Boom.
Sounds like speed so far is
all about
the major caveat here, right? Speed
and quick reads. The horizontal down the field approach leads to downfield openings. If you keep acting like you're going to push, but you keep going quick passes, you get those extra 4 yards every play. 5 yards, 10 yards, you break a tackle, you get 15 yards. People are going to come up. And then you go deep. You stretch it horizontally that way. So there's a lot of different things you do here in the West Coast offense. You got to make sure it's working on all cylinders. Dak Prescott on quick or short throws that were on target when he was getting blitzed, which is the biggest comparable you can say like to a West Coast style situation. He was 69.6% of the time facing the blitz, and 65.1% on other situations. He had 1.6% turnover-worthy plays facing the blitz. Very, very low. So not many turnover-worthy plays when he's blitzed. And when he's not facing the blitz, 4.8% turnover-worthy plays, still very low. So in 2021, Dak, 21 touchdowns against the blitz compared to 16 touchdowns in any other situation. And when he faced the blitz 279 less times in 2021 and still had a lot more touchdowns. All right. In a lesser group of plays, he's had unbelievable a difference maker in touchdowns. 21 touchdowns to 16 in non-blitz situations. Dak Prescott's big-time throw rate against the blitz, 6.8%. Turnover-worthy plays against the blitz, and big-time kind of 2.4%, very low. So I'm just saying, guys, he is Dak Prescott in a quicker reading, quicker kind of, I want to say game managing, but it is kind of a passing game managing kind of scheme. Quicker, faster reads, faster throws, and when the big one opens up, he can hit you deep. Dak Prescott will be under this kind of scheme here on offense under Mike McCarthy. The West Coast offense is based precisely, all right, on running pass patterns by the receivers. It's very important. That's why I say Gallup he has to get a little bit better. He cannot be running these crappy routes he's been running. So it's important that.
And look, we're obviously all willing to give him a slight benefit of the doubt.
I agree.
That obviously
I agree.
maybe his route running came second to just recovering from his injury
Agreed.
and stuff like that.
We'll
But even
that.
before that, it's not like he was running,
Right.
the world's sharpest
He wasn't getting
routes. He improved once Amari Cooper came in the building, showed him a little bit of tips and tricks.
But he hasn't really had
but
any separation even in his whole career. He's one of the least separated
that's
guys.
one of the things he struggled with a lot.
He's a high point guy, though, and he's always done great at that. So, but I'm talking about this. We're talking about receivers that have to run patterns by receivers that run patterns make up about 65% to 80% of the offensive West Coast scheme. So you got to be able to run routes proper and right. And Jalen Tolbert, the heat's on you a little bit as well. You got to get in there and get it right. But here's the key. When it comes to C.D. Lamb, how does he fit into this West Coast scheme? Optimal targets downfield in Mike McCarthy's offense, it's about 5 to 10 yards. All right, and deep shots are 14 or more, right? 15 or more yards down the field. Yards after the catch is one of C.D. Lamb's strengths and the primary weapon of his ability in offense. Listen to this, guys. He led the NFL in first downs that were third and longer than 7 yards. Number one in the NFL, 11 first down catches on those kind of plays. With a third down and over 7 yards. He averaged 4.6 yards after catch per reception. It means he got an extra almost 5 yards after the catch for CeeDee Lamb. Very important in the West Coast style offense. 497 yards. Again, total yards after catch in 2022, which is a career high for him. That was 9th in yards after catch in the NFC. And 109.6 passer rating for Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush when they targeted CeeDee Lamb. Again, imagine if he had caught that one big deep pass from Cooper Rush in that Week 3 game against the Giants, right, on Monday night. That would have helped his rating even more. He would have been 120 or 115 passer rating when they target CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is dominating it on the quick passes, on these precisely run patterns, being targeted, whether it's between 5 to 10 yards or 14 or 15 or more yards down the field on a bigger play. CeeDee Lamb fits perfectly into this West Coast style offense. So just kind of hit the chat up real quick. Any quick comments or thoughts
of course.
On the actual West Coast thoughts? Every week, every day, we might throw in a couple little, kind of nuggets about what the West Coast mixed with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Mike McCarthy offense will look like. So I'm curious what you guys think.
Real quick, Mike Aldana said, is Mike McCarthy going to incorporate the hurry up offense too? Catch some defenses off guard?
We need that. Dak, when he's in hurry up, he's a top 5 quarterback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks. It's at least forget about top 5 in the NFL. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback when you're in a hurry up and he has control of this offense and he can see what's going on and he has the defense on their heels. Dak is better. Like, he might be all right when he's normal. He's better. Much better.
Bruce got the toxic juice throwing out there. The only thing that I blame Dak for, signing off on Kellen Moore's option route system. That company man BS cost him.
And I agree. And again, Dak just agrees with whatever Kellen Moore says. We know that. They're buddies. You said how that hinders him in some ways. And I agree with that comment.
Again,
those route options are the receivers messing up.
I think one thing we have to remember, Dak genuinely believes in what
That's
Kellen
true,
Moore
too. Well,
was
no
trying
Kellen Moore
to
anymore.
do. And
No
not
more
just like
Kellen Moore.
believes it in like a football sense, believed it in like a personal friend level as well. And I think, to defend Kellen Moore a little bit, Kellen Moore genuinely thought like he was onto something here with some of the things he was doing and thought that he was going to elevate his buddy Dak Prescott.
Well, they both were on the same page that they thought it would work. They trusted in each other.
My point is that Kellen Moore genuinely thought it would work.
I don't think they messed with each other.
Dak Prescott genuinely believed in Kellen Moore's belief that it would work, regardless of how much evidence might have been stacking against
I agree, but in the
him.
end,
Dak,
the Jones has to move on, and they did.
Even if, I'm saying, even if Kellen Moore told Dak to just throw it at his feet 3 times in a freaking
Dak
row,
would have done it.
There's no way that Dak would hang Kellen Moore out to dry either.
I agree.
Just saying.
I agree.
So, let me see here. As well, rolling back a little bit, Beast Mode saying there's a lot of expectations on this team this year.
And as there should be. On Dak, on McCarthy, on the defense, on the receivers, on the offense, on Jerry Jones, everybody.
I'd be more disappointed if there weren't expectations, because that means that we are heading into the season knowing it's going to be a crappy one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we can keep it rolling here, baby, if we're caught up.
We kind of touched on at least the general
Now, this is before we get to the draft, we got to talk about what Stephen Jones said. And I know you have the full context of his quotes. Stephen Jones was asked on 105 Through the Fan today whether or not the Cowboys, or I guess we should assume, the fans should assume, the Cowboys are going to pick up CeeDee Lamb's 5th-year option this offseason, and whether or not there's long-term negotiations with CeeDee Lamb and even Trayvon Diggs right now. But this was about CeeDee Lamb for the most part. And I looked it over.
Like I said earlier, the Cowboys have bigger priorities than restructuring Dak's deal. But
what did Stephen Jones say?
Because Stephen said, well, obviously our focus has been on keeping the guys who were free, keeping the guys that we could keep. But we're not able to always have a clean run. But as we said, we were certainly thrilled to get Donovan Wilson in the mix there.
Donovan Wilson.
Certainly we lost some tough ones in terms of Dalton and then, of course, Connor McGovern. But that's certainly our priority. Now, before I get to the rest of what...
Well, I just want to say real quick on that. Donovan Wilson, Connor McGovern. These were some of the... You can see some of their focus. Dalton Schultz and Connor McGovern were supposedly their focuses. But we know the Cowboys had no problem letting them go and focus on getting LVE, Donovan Wilson, some of those guys in the mix. So that was his reasoning why they haven't talked about the CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs stuff right now. That's kind of their thing. Now, I do want to hear what Mark Hovsepian said.
Yes.
He dropped that $3
holler.
Mark,
much love. He said, logic tells us Gallup has to be better. We got a number 2 receiver with speed. CD is a solid number 1. Pollard is a Pro Bowler. We have a decent, up-and-coming...
O-line.
Let me see. Up-and-coming young tight end. Yeah. How much more does he need? And a defense?
Let's see how that coaching goes.
Plus, New York and Washington suck.
Let's see how that coaching goes. I'm seeing some people.
Let's see how that O-line goes.
The O-line too. O-line is very important there, of course. But yeah, the O-line and coaching. I'm not saying you need how much more he needs. I'm just saying that if you're going to play, it depends. If Dak is going to be made the person that has to win every game, he's going to need more than just that. He's going to need more than just up-and-coming tight ends and an average offensive line. And this is the difference maker. If you can find a way to not make Dak the focal freaking point of your offense and try to spread the ball and if you try to do that game rather than say can Dak get 400 yards a game, you're trying to spread the ball around. He'll get 400 yards and we'll win every game. I'm just trying to say if you play within his skill set, Dak will be fine. If you play out of his skill set, I don't know. You have to get more on this team, and that's on the coaching. It's on the coaching. You got to fit his skill set, or you're just wasting time. You're just wasting opportunities. No opportunity wasted here. Snug X, our sponsor of the week.
Much love, Snug, with a $5 holler.
He put 5 on it.
He said, MCW.
Always,
Much love.
We know that's the reason. We know why. The beauty of the channel.
Know why he's here. Thank you so much, Snug. Again, appreciate you. By the way, that does tell you bring Mark down to 95 points. Yeah. I'm going to hit up one quick comment here that I want you to respond to. And then I'm going to go handle the doggy, and then we'll get back to the Stephen Jones.
Yeah, you got Stephen Jones quotes. Yeah, he does touch on more about CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs in a minute.
But Bruce is asking real quick, whose influence do you think it was to roll out multiple tight ends and then run the ball more? Was it McCarthy or was it Kellen Moore?
Great question. I mean, I think that if you go back to when Dak went down, look what McCarthy did with Kellen Moore. And I don't say Cooper Rush. Look what he did with Kellen Moore. He took the game call, the game plan. He said it against Cincinnati before that game, I'm going to take a couple extra laps with Kellen Moore this week. What do you think that meant? Do you think he's just walking around the arena a little bit just saying, hey, make sure you just run a little more? No. He's doing the game plan. He's devising the game plan, and he helped incorporate the Cooper Rush into this offense. Hey, there's Asha.
What do you mean? That's me, my Cowboys wife.
So he's incorporating. Yeah, look how cute she is. I like my beautiful wife better. But anyways, no, I'm just trying to say, like, I think that McCarthy's job he did in those 5 weeks with Cooper Rush, by coaching that offense, I believe the offensive schemes were more Mike McCarthy styled and kind of were working towards Cooper Rush's skill set. And you can see that if we continued that way with McCarthy, I don't know what his skill set would have been with Dak Prescott, how he used Dak, but it obviously is different than what Kellen Moore did. So I believe McCarthy knows when to run and knows when to throw. He knows when you got to lean on the run a little bit more. That's what he means. Like, I think Kellen Moore didn't know how to do that. And I think we all complain about that for 4 years here in MCF and you guys in your houses. Screaming, why are we running the ball? I mean, why aren't we running the ball more? And why are we passing 45 times a game? Why? To get Dak's stats up? Is that for Kellen Moore's fucking resume? So that's my issue. In the end, the foundational issue with and people see it, the Dak issue.
It certainly wasn't in regards to our blood pressure. So thank you so much, Mark. Once again, he
trees
dropped
on it.
A $3 holler there saying, in regards to guard, I've said that we just need an improvement, not stars. Any of the top 4 guards that, like what you would consider are better and an upgrade over McGovern, Osiris, Avila, Whippler, Tripman. So basically, all the guards that are available would be an upgrade. So even as long as the Cowboys get one of these guys, it would be an upgrade, and we don't need a Pro Bowler there. We just need someone better than whoever the heck was there before. Agreed.
That's one of the big holes right now. And I hope that the coaching staff does the right thing here, but at the same time, it's we got to see what. It's not even the coaching, more what the front office choices are going to be.
I agree. So anyway,
much love, Mark. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. So
98 points. Yeah.
So remember, Steven was saying here, but basically the focus has been on signing the guys who were like free agents, right? Like Donovan Wilson, he mentioned, and how hard it has been, others, to lose guys like Schultz and McGovern.
Right.
So he kind of went on to say, though, quote, as we move forward, that'll become a different priority here as we move past the draft. And remember, we're talking about signing CeeDee Lamb, right? Mm-hmm. We've historically signed a lot of guys during that training camp period to extensions. But guys like CeeDee Lamb and Diggs are certainly on our radar in terms of guys that we'd love to have around here for another 5-6 years or whatever it turns out to be.
So another 5 or 6 years or whatever it turns out to be. So again...
long term is the point.
The point is Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, this Stephen Jones talking. I mean, this is just them playing the negotiation game. And nothing really new here, in my opinion, when it comes to...
Like I said, he didn't really say anything surprising. He had other guys that were a bit more of a priority. We're still highly interested in getting these deals done. We usually get these types of deals done at a different point in our offseason.
Right. Well, we'll see.
So it's just
crazy it's really not saying anything. But then Stephen...
Yeah, Stephen Jones kind of went on to speak up a little bit more. Right?
He said today where Tyler Smith is going to line up this year, which is kind of leads into this guard situation that Mark just brought up and that I have myself.
Yeah, forget about Tyler. I need about Terrence because that statement's still rocking in my head.
Yeah, the Terrence Steele stuff on the right tackle going to left guard, that's crazy. But now, where is Tyler Smith going to play? We know what we've heard, left tackle, and that's where he's playing. He's not playing left guard. We're still waiting to see if that's for sure or not. Tyron Smith will play right tackle, and Terrence Steele is the swing / left tackle, left guard, starter right now. I don't know. That's what the Joneses, that's what the front office have been saying. That's what McCarthy's kind of insinuated. So what did Stephen Jones say now as far as the offensive line, but specifically Tyler Smith in 2023?
He said, I think that at the end of the day, I think everyone would like to think that we could keep him there at left tackle and just have his progression continue, which has, by the way, been just amazing. What he's accomplished coming out of Tulsa, being able to step in after practicing at left guard virtually all through the preseason, and then stepping in for Tyron and playing the left tackle position as a rookie at such high levels.
It's crazy.
But at the same time, I know Mike and Mike Solari. They want the best 5 guys on the field.
Mike Solari is the offensive line coach, the new offensive line coach for the Cowboys. So he just said Solari wants the best 5 on that field. Interesting. Okay.
I know here as we start here yesterday and start to have our guys in here on a more regular basis, certainly we'll see what that combination looks like. So you don't ever rule anything out.
So right now, that's a switch right there. Right?
Honestly, to me, it just sounds like you said, if our priority is to get our best 5 guys out there, it sounds like the Cowboys don't want to lock themselves into automatically assuming Tyler's going to play left tackle or automatically assuming he's playing left guard. I think they're trying to leave it organically up to putting the best 5 out there and seeing, what does that look like? Does that mean Tyler at guard, Tyron at left tackle, Terrence Steele at right?
I know. I mean,
how do you do that? So that's how I'm taking it. I don't know if that's how you're taking it.
I'm taking it as the Cowboys are trying to, figure out which are our 5 best guys, depending on who we draft. I think that's we're not saying that, but that's what I'm adding. I think it's who we draft makes the difference there, not the best 5 guys right now. The best 5 guys will be someone we draft and get stuck into that left guard spot.
Okay,
that's what I think.
So, by the way, Mark clarifying a little bit of his last question.
Mark in the house.
Thank you so much with another $3
in the place to be. Brandon Cook's
caller here, and he said, I was asking, are those guys better than McGovern?
Oh, okay.
We still need Puna. I think Maisie would be a huge upgrade over our number 3 and 4. Do you think he can be better than Osa? No clown show.
No doubt Mozzie is much better than Neville Gallimore and could be better than Osa. I think that and it depends on what, right? I think as a 3-down nose tackle, he's better than Osa. As a 3-tech, Osa's better. But
I think as far as the guards in the immediate right now here, no, they probably will not be better than McGovern. In the sense of heading into this first year and stuff like that, I personally, I'm not saying that they're going...
Would it be like a Tyler Smith kind of guy coming into that spot? Because Tyler Smith did fantastic. You don't think so?
No. Okay. Lightning does not strike twice like that. I'm sure whoever we get will have a solid season. It's not like they're going to suck.
Yeah, I know. But you don't think
it'll be... But are they going to,
if
anything, expect a Connor McGovern-like performance from them, right? For a first year... late first round pick that we might be reaching for, just to give you a scenario on, we probably won't feel too bad about it, right? It's trending upwards. He's probably going to play better as the season goes on. One of those types of scenarios, I think we need to really take deep breaths and manage our expectations for what this offensive lineman could possibly do, because I think Tyler Smith gave us some really false expectations of what it normally looks like. I
agree, but I also think that when you get in there, if you're drafting a first round guy, I don't give a damn if he's 32. He better freaking start.
I never said he wasn't going to start.
I know. I'm saying he's got to start.
Manage your expectations for what starting looks like.
A first round pick, even with the reach, better than Connor McGovern. That's what I think. I truly think that. Now it could be a bust.
Long term in the future, absolutely.
But I think coming in right now, they're the same, and that means only better for the future. What I'm saying, if they come in now and they're the same as Connor McGovern, I'll take it, because that means it's only going to get better. McGovern hit his ceiling. He's done. So you know what I mean? To me, it's a big time.
Say what I said again. Long term, yes. For this first year, no. Because like I said, if he's just going to come in, whoever this guy is, this hypothetical player, and play the same as Connor McGovern, no, he's not better. Sorry.
Better because he's a rookie and he has no experience. No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes him better, because he's a rookie, has his whole career, he hasn't hit his ceiling, and he's already at that level going forward.
I know.
It's NFL level blocking is what I'm trying to say.
Already read, I agree. Usually first round O-line guys hit. Like I said, I'm not saying we're going to miss if we go for one. I'm saying
don't expect from him.
We're not drafting baby Tyler Smith. Okay? Heck, even Tyler Smith, we're sitting here putting a lot of expectations on this upcoming year.
I know.
All I'm trying to say is deep breaths. In and out, we still do not know a lot of things.
I think that Tyler, it's funny because I do think that if you draft a Steve Avila or any of these guys we just had, Darnell Wright, and they end up playing that left guard spot, I think that they will help Tyler Smith. I think Tyler Smith and Biadish and all the offensive line we have are going to help whoever goes in that spot, because there's good players around him already.
I want to believe.
We'll see.
Okay?
We'll see. Listen,
I want to believe.
Tyler
now,
Smith.
Let me keep rolling, because I know
Tyler Smith didn't have that. Tyler Smith didn't have that kind of kind of thought process. Not many people thought he was going to do what he did this year, but these other guys we just mentioned, they all expected to do something pretty good. They're expected to do decent, not like Tyler Smith was like a crapshoot. Everybody in this list that we just mentioned have high expectations for them. Not to be superstars, but to be better than Connor McGovern.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If they're going to pick a first-round guy, better be better than Connor McGovern. I think these four guys are.
Now, again, let's talk about Cowboy expectations, though, because Steven kept on saying, I do know everyone deep down would love to think that they could continue to play Tyler there at the left tackle spot. But at the end of the day, Tyler's going to be for that. Tyron was last year volunteering to move over to right tackle. And certainly we've got Steele, who's one of our top offensive linemen. So we'll just see how that works out. I don't think we're totally committed to anything just yet, but at the same time, certainly like the thought process of him being able to continue to grow as a left tackle. So like I said, their preference would be to keep him at left tackle. Their initial thought is, this is what we want to do. Is this what we're going to end up doing? Probably not. But again, Tyler Smiths do not just come around all the time every day, and Dallas is great with drafting offensive linemen, but even we, did not hit on every single one of them. Now, excuse me for just a moment as I deal with this
she's
dog
out of control. Once again.
More. But at least as far as Stephen Jones, that's basically all he said.
Well, not really. He said more. He said more. I'll say the rest here, baby. Stephen Jones said that the Cowboys off-season right now, the way it's gone, the Cowboys are in a great situation right now to improve the football team as a whole and not pressed to kind of go draft and feel like they have to, reach or anything. They're going to go best player for the most part that they need. That was kind of the first comment that they set up this offseason for this specific end game here to be able to draft whoever they wanted to freely without worrying about best player, position of need kind of situation. So when Stephen Jones was asked today about what the plan is going forward for the draft, Stephen Jones said that he actually said that, basically the first position that he mentioned, which was interesting to me, the first position he mentioned was tight end. So tight end, which is your predicted, choice here for the first round. Again, we talked about Kincaid, now we talked about Mayer before everybody else has, right? In the sense of like you're hearing now that these big time mock drafts. I'll talk about where Mayer felt why he's getting mocked to us from Notre Dame, but not saying any names. Stephen Jones said, quote, obviously when you lose someone like Dalton Schultz and you draft someone like Jake Ferguson last year, ended up with a great value in undrafted rookie Peyton Hendershot last year. We feel good about that tight end position, but certainly the draft is heavy at tight end. There are quite a few players in those top 3 or 4 rounds of tight ends that we think they can be a Ferguson-like or Henderson-like kind of guy and come in and help us. So I'm just going to say this right now, who he's describing in that top 3 or 4 rounds is, and again, he went into describing the tight end they're looking for a lot more in detail, a blocker, a big guy that can block, and a guy that can also, be an offensive weapon in some cases. It doesn't have to be the superstar tight end. We got Ferguson, we got guys here. So who he's describing to me in some ways is Georgia tight end, the 6th offensive lineman they call him, Darnell Washington. Don't be surprised, 2nd round or 3rd round, Darnell Washington pops up with the star in his helmet, and it ends up being our 6'7", 6'6", 270-pound tight end. That kind of reminds some people about some one of those guys that people reminded about him is believe it or not, Jason Witten, but because of his size and he doesn't really have that speed. But when we looked at his hand size, his speed, everything, the guy is like an unbelievable human in the sense of what he's able to do. He's very fast for his size. So put it that way. So again, to me, he's kind of I love Lunda Wells doing what he did with the tight ends, every single one, whether it was Dalton Schultz in his later years, but through his last couple of years with Dalton Schultz, he's been the coach for the tight ends position. Lunda Wells helping out guys like Schultz, helping out guys like Ferguson and Hendershot and McEwen. I don't have worries about going high on a guy like Mayer. I'm not saying I want that, but I wouldn't be upset with Mayer. I wouldn't be upset with Kincaid, and I wouldn't be upset with Darnell Washington in the 3rd round. I would love that. So to me, that's what Stephen Jones is kind of telling us. Like he kind of likes a Darnell Washington guy in the 3rd round if he drops there. We'll see what happens. They also asked about Bijan Robinson, which they asked Dak about it, and Dak's like, I love the Texas Longhorns. And yeah. So they asked Stephen Jones about Bijan Robinson at running back, and Stephen Jones said this, quote, I'm sure when that first day of the draft is over, he's certainly going to have a team, meaning he's going to be on a team, obviously. Stephen Jones said, quote, and you never know, end quote, and you never know. So he's trying to leave it out there like, we still may grab him. I just don't think they will from Stephen Jones and McClay. but I think Jerry Jones would grab him. So we'll see what happens. Either way, if you look at who's favorite to draft Bijan Robinson right now at this moment, from FD Sportsbook, the Falcons, 200 to 1 odds to draft Bijan Robinson. I think they have 2 picks in front of us. I'm not sure. At least one in the top 10.
Yeah.
That'd be a high pick for Bijan Robinson. You know who's second on this list? The Dallas Cowboys. 600 to 1 odds, tied with the Houston Texans. The Eagles are 10 to 1, Lions 10 to 1, Chargers 10 to 1, and down the list. Another running back I do want to mention, though, I talked about running backs. I'll talk about a little bit more, like Zach Evans, a couple of these guys, Rashawn Johnson, that are going to be there in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and I think that's where the Cowboys are going to attack with and pick. But don't forget Syracuse running back Sean Tucker. You might say he wasn't doing anything yet. Where is he at? Who's he? He's considered to be a mid-round running back pick, so that fits perfectly into the Cowboys. But Sean Tucker, he has not been medically cleared to participate in the scouting combine. And again, he just received medical clearance during last week's Pro Day Combine recheck. I'm sorry, it was a scouting combine recheck to see if these guys can now be eligible to run and to do their combines, because he has his Pro Day for Syracuse is on Monday, April 24th, a couple days away in Syracuse, and that's where he's going to go out there and run. So again, a mid-round pick at running back, Sean Tucker. I know the Cowboys have no interest in him yet, but we'll see if this changes anything as a name. Sean Tucker, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, 6th round kind of running back if the Cowboys don't draft one earlier than that, in the 3rd round, let's say. So when it comes to the Cowboy guys that we're interested in for this draft, 30-day visits, right? The 30 guys, we know Dallas guys, we got guys we're interested in the combine and scouting and in the Senior Bowl, but when it comes to these guys that we're really interested in the end, the top 30 visits, the last day a team can bring in one of these rookies is tomorrow. And we know we brought a guy in today with a lot of pre-draft visits with the Seahawks, Jaguars, Cardinals, Broncos, Raiders, Vikings, Bills, Panthers, Giants, Ravens, and the Dallas Cowboys. Outside linebacker Brian Young. Again, guys, Mel Kiper had him going 45th overall to the Green Bay Packers in the mock draft that he did last week. So you can see he'd be a 1st-round pick / 2nd-round pick if we were going to go get him. Again, outside linebacker. Is that going to be a pick there for the 1st round? I doubt it. So, just saying that the Cowboys did bring him in. Just wanted to bring that, make sure that was noted. And again, another guy the Cowboys like from Boise State, safety, J.L. Skinner. Don't be surprised if Boise State guy drops to the Cowboys here. Not just in the draft. I mean, it would have to be a draft pick. He's a safety, but he's a long, physical safety who can play in the box in the NFL. If we don't get like a Demarius Overshown or Overblown, if we don't get Overshown, you can look at another hybrid kind of safety that's going to linebacker. This would be a safety staying at safety, but J.L. Skinner, Boise State, is a connection there. Long, lanky, physical safeties. That's Quinn style, so that could be a possible match for the Cowboys. What about Eli Ricks, cornerback from Alabama? I personally like him, but his poor athletic testing, injury history, these 2 things are hurting his draft capital right now, or draft ability. And a lot of people right now are still saying he might be a day 3 pick. Even, I can't believe I'm hearing this, but undrafted, that's not happening. But if it does happen, the Cowboys better grab Eli Ricks. According to PFF, and you look at cornerback, will the Cowboys go corner early? We got Stephon Gilmore. I know he's just here for 1 more year, but Stephon Gilmore, guys, has the 6th highest career grade of any player drafted in 2012, regardless of position. All right, guys, of any player drafted in that year in 2012, he has the highest grade. 6th highest career grade in that 2022 draft. Again, regardless of position, quarterback, running back, whatever. 91 is his grade, career grade as a coverage cornerback. So again, we got our corners. Now, offensive line, I know a lot of guys are talking out there. Who can we go? Listen, there's a guy inside. Interior, we haven't talked a lot about here. I hope Marco Sepian's listening, because a lot of people are talking about this guy who'd be available in that 2nd or even 3rd round, John Michael Schmitz. He's more of a 2nd round guy, but he could be he's rated as possibly one of the best interior offensive linemen. But the only guy I would say is better than him is Skronsky, who he's a top 1st round pick inside interior, the best in the draft. Number 2 is John Michael Schmitz, probably even better than Avila, better than some of these other guys, Osiris Torrance, as an interior, meaning safety and guard, not tackle. Safety and guard. Center and guard only. That's it. Center and guards, no tackles. But Skronsky would be number 1. John Michael Schmitz, number 2, and he would be a solid pickup for the Cowboys as a guard. Keep that in mind. Now, again, most people say he's number 2 of the interior offensive linemen. And the only problem is he has short arms. All right.
Got a big head.
He's not a tackle. He's a guard, and he's really a guard because of his short arms. He can't play tackle. So he's like a Slater. Remember Slater from a couple of years ago? We were thinking about taking him. Slater could play anywhere on the offensive line, but this guy can only play. John Michael Schmitz can only play like center and guard. Can't play tackle. So just keep that in mind that he is a very good, one of the better interior linemen, John Michael Schmitz. If he drops to us in the second or even third round, that'd be great. Now, the first round pick. We did this the other night with the mock draft. Who is the odds for the 26th pick in the draft right now for the Cowboys? This is from bookies.com. Dalton Kincaid at tight end. So already we're going to talk about Michael Mayer in a minute, but Dalton Kincaid is the 425 to 1 odds to be, from Utah tight end to be the Cowboys pick at 26. The number 2 most likely 26th pick in this draft by the Cowboys. 450 to 1 odds tight end Darnell Washington. You got tight end Dalton Kincaid and tight end from Georgia, Darnell Washington. The top 2 guys going to Dallas are tight ends at the 26th pick. That's you, baby. That's you. So Drew Sanders, Arkansas linebacker, 500 to 1 odds, and Bijan Robinson, 550 to 1 odds. He's 4th on this list.
All right.
So when we talk about tight ends, we're going to kind of focus on that right now. Brian Brodus was asked a couple of things, and again, a very deep tight end class. A lot of people say, why is the hype going on so much for these tight ends? And according to Brian Brodus, he thinks that at least 2 will be gone in the first round. And a lot of people agree with that.
It's actually, I'm not, obviously it's possible. I'm just saying it is still slightly surprising considering we're still talking about Mayer possibly even falling all the way to a point where we could draft.
Well, again, but again, it might be.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, if we're going to pick the number 1 guy, someone might pick Kincaid before him. That's what I'm hearing too.
That's what I'm saying. Like the fact that we're still having this discussion, considering that one of these 2 guys could still fall
that's the thing,
to us.
The fact that it is so kind of deep for overall draft is not that great, but the tight end side is pretty deep, and so again, you're looking at different positions that the Cowboys may need, and the fact that we have a deep draft class is very positive. The Cowboys are going to draft somebody here. It doesn't have to be a first round pick. Brodus says deep class still got 2 going in the first round. That's what's strange about it. The deep class, usually you let these guys go a little, you can let them go a little bit farther into the draft because there's so many of them, but they're that good this year is what he's saying, the tight ends position, that 2 of them will be gone in the first round.
So I'm going with the Cowboys will probably invest a first, if not a second round pick at tight end, depending on, like I said, exactly how things shake out.
So again, you got to look at this stuff, and you look at all the evaluators in the NFL and the analytics and all that stuff. They put together a puzzle about the best consensus board of tight ends. Michael Mayer is the number 1 guy on this list, not by much. Number 2, Dalton Kincaid. Number 3, Darnell Washington. All 3 guys are closely watched, close and different analytics, and they have better and worse with each other. Then you look at the next group of guys. You're looking at Luke Musgrave and Sam Laporta, which we actually talked about as well here in our simulation, in our mock draft the other day. But these names, the top 3 guys, are the guys that I would say the Cowboys are probably keying on the most. Again, Mayer, Kincaid, or Darnell. His name is Dalton, and Darnell Washington. These guys one of these 3 guys will be in the first 2 rounds probably drafted, and then guys like Luke Musgrave, Laporta could be second, third round guys, 4th round guys could have a star in their helmet by the time this draft is over. But the tight end position, kind of probably, a lot of people think that drafting a player like Mayer or Kincaid is worth it, and some people, I'm kind of in between, but some people think it's a complete waste. If you look at all the tight ends that were drafted, only 1 rookie tight end since 2000, 22 years, has ever had over 1,000 yards receiving in their rookie season.
Something else to keep in mind if you're trying to see what kind of stats back up the kind of play time that you can expect or the utility that you might be able to expect.
Kyle Pitts was the guy who did it in 2021, 1,000 yards.
Good for him.
Yeah. Again, that's not the largest indicator.
Where's Cleveland Brown?
Huh?
I said, where's Cleveland Brown?
I'm saying that's not the largest indicator, though, of success. But you have to mention it. So you have to at least say, okay, that is a big deal.
It's not the largest, but it's still an indicator.
So Dane Brolger had, a mock draft like Mel Kiper last week. We talked about, the picks there. This time, in his 7-round mock draft, he had the Cowboys, who, by the way, he's mocked very accurate drafts, especially for the Cowboys, Dane Brolger. But he has the Cowboys with the 26th pick taking tight end from Notre Dame, Michael Mayer.
There you go.
So you got Kincaid, you get the odds-on favorite. Mayer if he drops down, he's a guy that that a lot of people say the Cowboys should draft him. You got to remember, both Mel Kiper Jr. and Dane Brugler both mocked Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer to the Cowboys in their mock drafts. Remember that, guys. Michael Mayer to the Cowboys for multiple experts that do great in mocking drafts. I mean, last year, Mel Kiper gave the Cowboys Tyler Smith in his final mock draft. He had Tyler Smith going to the Cowboys.
And he called it.
He called it. And this year he's saying Michael Mayer. And so is Dane Brugler, who's done a great job predicting. So again, right now you're seeing some signs pointing towards the tight end position, Michael Mayer.
And remember, to me, this is more of a stars align moment in the sense of Mayer is obviously rated relatively highly on the Cowboys draft boards in this scenario.
But they haven't really taken him in as a top visit. Remember that. They got a lot of tight ends, but not
match the trend of last year where we did not bring in our first-round pick, Tyler Smith.
Correct.
Right?
Brought a lot of offensive linemen.
We drafted him sight unseen.
We brought up a lot of offensive linemen that are in that early rounds, and we ended up taking a different guy than we brought in. This situation is similar. We brought in a lot of tight ends, but not the guy we may draft, Michael Mayer. I don't know. We'll see.
Exactly. So, let me see. Bird Bar saying, are these tight ends better than the one Atlanta got last year?
Who did they get last year?
I'm assuming you actually mean Kyle Pitts, Bird
Kyle
Bar.
Pitts. Kyle Pitts looking as like one of the best ones. In fact, let me keep going here because Burn Bar, right now they're saying Ferguson, if he was in this draft, he'd be the 10th tight end in this draft. So just to give you a little mindset of how deep this draft is, especially compared to last year. And when we got Ferguson in the 4th round, this year, 4th round pick will be better at tight end than Ferguson was last year, according to the analytics and the people that know this stuff. But if the Cowboys go to tight end, Mayer is a floor option, I guess you can say, for the Cowboys in that first round. But I think a lot of people like Darnell Washington, even Dalton Kincaid to some situations. Although he has that back issue. Remember we talked about the back injury?
Yeah. That
soured me from Kincaid. I'm kind of, look, if we're not going Mayer in the first, I can say Washington in the second. I don't have a problem with Washington. He might have to be a first-round pick. If the Cowboys dive for someone like him, slower, but a big guy like Kyle Pitts-ish, right? So again, listen to this, guys. Last 15 years worth of first-round tight ends. It doesn't matter how good or bad they did. First-round tight ends drafted in the last 15 years. Kyle Pitts in 2021, by far probably the best one on this list, but there's a lot of good ones here. TJ Hawkinson in 2019. Noah Fant from the Broncos in 2019. Hayden Hurst from the Ravens in 2018. O.J. Howard from the Buccaneers 2017. Also in 2017, Evan Ingram from the Giants. David Njoku with the Browns. Eric Ebron in 2014. That's 3 years. No tight ends drafted. 2014, Ebron with the Lions. In 2013, Tyler Eifert with the Bengals. In 2010, Jermaine Gershom with the Bengals. And you go back whatever 5 more years are, I guess, or whatever 3 more years. There's no tight ends drafted, guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tight ends drafted in the first round in the last 15 years. It's not a common thing. You guys feel me on this? I mean, you look at the comparables in some ways. Michael Mayer, who is he like? First of all, athletically, when it comes to the RAS score, the relative athletic score, it shows the athleticness of the player. Michael Mayer is not a great athlete, but he's far from average. In fact, maybe he compares in some ways to the great Mark Andrews from the Baltimore Ravens. Let me explain. Michael Mayer, guys, I mean, he's dominant in the 40-yard dash compared to other tight ends. He's dominant in the split, 10-yard split. Same 2 things that Mark Andrews had. And it's funny because across the board, he had similar things in the negatives and the positives and the averages. So when you look at Michael Mayer compared coming out of college, he's very comparable to a Mark Andrews type tight end, which I think we all would love that. I think,
agree.
Right? He was in a first-round pick, Mark Andrews. But Mayer feels like a perfect fit for the Cowboys. Let me explain. I personally like Mayer better than I'd say him and Washington are my favorite 2 guys. Seems like a perfect fit. Why? He has blocking ability, Michael Mayer. He has great hands and ability to catch contested balls. He was their number 1 playmaker in Notre Dame. They threw it up. He went and came down with the pass as a tight end. 5-star recruit. Immediate production as a starter, day 1. He took the job in Notre Dame from 2 upperclassmen, all right, that had future NFL contributors. They were future NFL contributors. I'm not saying they're stars, but the guys he beat are 2 guys that are in the NFL or were in the NFL. He also holds all Notre Dame tight end records. He only played 3 years, not 4. He has all the tight end records at Notre Dame. The best tight end in their history.
That's a pretty impressive thing to do, obviously.
As I said, he's an above-average athlete, about a 7.4 out of 10. Very good blocking capability. He's a willing and able blocker, and he's a plus pass route runner. What do we need in the West Coast offense? Oh yeah, very good route running. So this guy will fit very well into this Cowboy offense, West Coast style. He was also outproducing other NFL caliber tight ends when he was at Notre Dame. As a freshman, at 19 years old, he was beating NFL caliber Notre Dame tight ends. Eventually, they would become an NFL, right? That's amazing. So Mayer's the real deal, guys. And you want to look at some comparables, not just from my thoughts, but from the analytic masters of the NFL world. Mm-hmm. Michael Mayer, from a tight end from Notre Dame, he's comparable to Jason Witten. According to the NFL analytics, according to the PFF analytics, Jason Witten's the best comparable to someone like Michael Mayer. Todd Heap from Lindy's. They voted him. They rated Todd Heap. It was a very good tight end as a comparable to Michael Mayer. T.J. Hawkinson from Matt Miller said he's a comparable to someone like a Michael Mayer. And Zach Ertz, according to Player Profiler, Zach Ertz was a guy who's named very similar to comparable to a Michael Mayer. In fact, they say he's basically Zach Ertz, but a better blocker. He's a better blocking upside.
That's pretty good.
Just saying, across the board, Michael Mayer is a fantastic fit. Now, I don't know if you want him at 26, first round pick. I just wouldn't be here and yelling mad because we got a tight end in the first round. It just depends on our coaches, which is set there, solid.
Yeah, a lot of the circumstances around it. I did see one or two comments like way earlier in the chat saying they wouldn't mind getting a tight end, but we'd have to move down in the draft. Like basically, like that would be the real like cherry on top. Moving down, still grabbing a tight end and getting a few more picks. So honestly, I'm still throwing this out there because we're still like we're basically T-minus 9 days away from the draft, and we're still hearing several people kind of championing trading down a bit. So
I'm down with that.
I don't know if that's necessarily in Dallas's cards.
They haven't talked about it.
I think it's very possible still. But I don't think it's something we're seeking to do, if that makes sense. If someone calls and makes the right offer, I think we'd be amenable. I think we'd be open to listening. But it does certainly seem like the Cowboys are planning to just kind of stay where they're at and
they
make
usually
the best
I've had to bet money that's what they're going to do. They're not going to move, but they also haven't spoken about possibly moving down. Like they usually
not even hinted. Nothing.
So I don't think it's going to happen. If you keep looking at Dane Brugler's kind of mock draft, who do you have in the 5th round, baby? It should spark attention.
Moody, that's right.
Guys, he had the Cowboys drafting on day 3 in the 5th round, Michigan kicker Jake Moody. He worked out for the Cowboys, just so you know. I don't know if you guys knew that. The Cowboys have interest on him, and I actually talked about that last week, that the Cowboys did bring him in for some practice. But Moody made a 59-yarder, if you remember, against TCU in the semifinal game. He won the Lou Groza Award in 2021. And you got to remember, guys, Brugler, who really does a good job in predicting Cowboy drafts, he has him in the 5th round. The Cowboys drafting, not a running back, not a quarterback.
Brugler, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Brugler.
What did I say? Bugler?
I don't know, but not
Brugler.
that.
Whatever. Brugler. He has him in the 5th round going to the Cowboys in this Jake Moody from Michigan kicker. So now Brugler made all 259 picks. Okay, and he addressed most of the Cowboy issues, right, and weaknesses or open spots on our roster, but not all of them with the 7 picks. Because if you look at his entire, I'm not going to break it because other guys, there's some defensive guys and an offensive lineman late, but the 2 positions he did not even touch, running back or wide receiver. He did get the quarterback. I think he got Clayton Tune in the 6th round. Irrelevant. The point I'm trying to say is that there was no running back picked in his mock draft. There was no wide receiver picked in his mock draft. When I'm looking, there's a lot of receivers that could go a little deep, but they're a little bit lackluster playmaker, not really playmaker type receivers. Well, we're going to probably pick them. But when you look at running backs, to me, you can still get somebody who gives you a little bit of that Zeke, 20 or 30% of the carries, like a Zach Evans, like a Kendre Miller, who the Cowboys also have looked at, and Rashawn Johnson from Texas. All 3 guys are 3rd or 4th round running backs, and all 3 guys the Cowboys have brought in and really taken a long look at. I think that the Cowboys will pick one of those 3 guys in the 3rd or 4th round, probably 4th round in this draft. If Zach Evans gets to the 4th round, you better pick him. You better pick him. That's a guy I've been calling out since January. So I think Zach Evans to replace a Zeke type production would be perfect. Perfect. And a very inexpensive kind of pick, especially in the 4th round when it comes to draft capital kind of stuff. So
I have to agree.
A lot of people out there talking about first round this, first round that is really, if you know, a lot of people we talked about 16, 15, first round grades.
Obviously, first round is
right.
important.
But there's only like 15, 16 first round grades according to the NFL. But if you look at other kind of analytics, there's about 24 to 25 first round truly gradable guys.
Okay.
And I think that not Dalton Kincaid as much, but I think Michael Mayer is one of those guys. So again, if you want to get a top first round worth value deal, Mayer, Washington at tight end could be that guy. Even if you don't want a tight end, he's still one of the top 24 guys in this draft. And that's what the Cowboys wanted. They wanted to make sure they left this offseason. That's what Stephen Jones said tonight. That he wanted to leave everything kind of this offseason kind of open to be able to draft the best out there, what's available. And even, yes, with their positions, right now it's kind of directing it to the tight end position right now. Although I still think Darnell Wright from Tennessee, right tackle, but can play left guard. He cannot play left tackle, but he can play left guard, can play right tackle. That's another good pick there at that spot. And of course, you got other guys. You can go Mozzie Smith, or you can go, Steve Avila or something like that if you want to go offensive lineman, a more sure thing, maybe a little more of a reach at 26. But anyways, that's my breakdown for today, guys. Hit up the chat. Let's rock it and roll. We're 2 hours in, and we thought it was going to be like 3 hours tonight. So,
Drums and Cowboys said, I trust Notre Dame's tight end O-line historically. They are well coached.
Zach Martin, Notre Dame. Fantastic offensive line. And yes, this Michael Mayer came in, dominated, the best receiving threat for them, beat all these other NFL caliber tight ends that were already there above him and older than him, beat him out. This guy's the real deal in the NFL. He should be a Mark Andrews type guy.
This comment cracked me up. You guys are killing in the chat. Ready Red said, Darnell Washington is what we thought Rico could have been.
I was thinking about that because Rico's big, but Rico was a basketball player, right? So that was a whole different situation. That's a whole different project.
I don't think we've ever drafted a basketball player before in that way.
Yeah, he was a 7th round pick, right? Rico, a basketball player, can play a little football, and then of course, that's the Cowboys making their little splash. But now you're getting a guy who's basketball player size. But after basketball, he's dominating on the football field at blocking as the 6th offensive lineman is what he's called. And he can also catch the ball. He's great for short yardage, for goal line stuff. Come on. Darnell Washington would be great if the Cowboys utilize him properly. He could be a great addition to this tight end room.
So, real quick.
Yeah, Washington's completely different than Ferguson and Hendershot. They're more of the athletic types, and Washington is more of the solid big body blocker and can get those little, dip out plays for those short yardage kind of downs. Different type of tight end.
Bruce throwing out there, if they don't add a lineman early, I'll be okay with Darnell Washington.
And Darnell Washington would be a first round pick. That would be a first round pick for the Cowboys. It would not be. He's not going to be last in the 2nd round. But he would be a future right tackle possibly, but can't play left guard.
Stephen White on a different wavelength. He's like, we have good tight ends. We don't have a Darnell Washington. We have good tight ends. We don't have a Darnell Washington.
And that's
I'm guessing you're making an argument for him.
No, that's what I just said, though, baby. I know you were in the chat a second ago, but I made that same comment. Darnell Washington is not like Ferguson. Ferguson's athletic. Ferguson is a agile, mobile kind of route running. He can block, but and so is Hendershot. Similar guys. Darnell Washington's completely different. Michael Mayer can make plays down the field, and he's a little bit more like Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington's a bigger guy and more of a different kind of player than Michael Mayer, but they're both different. Both these guys, I think, are different than Ferguson. Both these guys are different than Hendershot. So that's the key here. I think Kincaid falls in that mindset too. So you see the Cowboys are looking for that kind of tight end, not the Ferguson athletic type of tight end necessarily. Just saying.
So now, real quick, the final comments here. Ready Red said, I want trenches, O-line at 26, Siaki Ika at 58.
A nose tackle. Right. The only thing I'll say about Ika is that he's like 267 pounds. Or as a nose tackle, no way. I can't do that. I just can't get Siaki Ika. I cannot bring him in with knowing that he's going to be undersized. To what we need to do is run stop. So I'm still worried about him, especially in the second. I'd rather have what's his name? Keanu Benton from Wisconsin. Give me him over Ika. Just saying. That's me. That's where I'm different than you, Ready Red. But hey, you know what? As long as they play, I don't care what their name is.
Exactly.
Hopefully Will McClay makes the right choice.
We'll call you whatever you want. So
yeah.
Ready Red said no. He's 360.
Is he? Damn, I could have sworn I saw a 267.
Not 260, so 360.
All right, well, if he's 360,
he ate the guy that was
might be a little too big then. I don't know, but all right, so I can deal with him like in the third round. He's not third round. I'd rather have Benton. To me, has the quicker hands, the quicker body, and he can be an additional kind of pass rusher as well. I think I just personally put him a little over Ika. I don't know how you say his name properly, but don't kill me for that. I do.
He said Big Samoan from Baylor.
Yeah.
Said Ready Red.
Yeah, I'm actually. I did just see him today. That's why I said he saw the same thing you did. I think he was one of Dame Rolger's picks for the Cowboys in the third round. So I am watching him. I know he's out there. Third round, yes. Second round, too early for me. But maybe. Yeah. Cowboys want their guy. They're gonna get their guy. So, and the Cowboys definitely brought him in too as one of their top 30 visits. So
now I am gonna go ahead and do some shout outs here, guys. Of course, thank you so much for spending time out of your day, your night, or whatever time zone you're in to come and hang with us. Appreciate you all. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Simplest, easiest way to make sure you never miss a live stream. And of course, I think I said it already, but follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily. There's also only a handful of ways to still show the love in the meantime while we're still dealing with the YouTube stuff behind the scenes. We've already touched on a few of those. You've seen a few of those already tonight. But yes, we have the Cash App, the Venmo, the regular PayPal link, and the Streamlabs, so your message can show up right here on the screen.
That's right. Mark Hosepian holding it down, the crown, as the stream boss, 100 points. But that sponsor of the week, Snug X, you know why he does what he does.
Why is he here?
Maybe he's here because he's the beauty of the channel and repping that star for everything. He's also the Cash App king.
That's right.
Much love to him. So he's coming into the week as the dominator. Although no one's in the Cash App right now, and Snug X is second on that board above us. Mark Hosepian back in first place. Yeah, so appreciate both of you guys. And by the way, with Ready Red's comment, was that Ready Red with the Siaka?
Yes.
I'm looking here, guys. Again, 6'3", 335. So again, he is a nose tackle. I am cool with that. And I apologize. I'm good with someone like him. Could be in the second round. I would say if Keanu Benton is there, I would personally take him. But Siaka would be another player you can definitely add to that list of guys at that position. If we don't go with Mozzie Smith, the Keanu Benton type of guy, in my opinion. Those are my favorites. But hey, everybody has their own favorites, right? I'm cool. I'm always good with a good big old Samoan in the middle. I'm always good with that. So, I'm with you there, Ready Red. Appreciate Stephen White here in the house. I hear Jared Clark here. 30-year defensive line players have to break out. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think if you want a sack type of guy, Keanu Benton, Mozzie Smith are more like that than Ika. But, I need to see a guy who can stop the damn run. That's what we need, right? A run stopper. That's what's important to me. And if we get that, I don't care if his name is MCF. Let's just stop the run and help out our, let's get that future, nose tackle that's maybe going to be in there when Jonathan Hankins takes a spill here and there. I mean, he's 31. He might miss a couple games like he did last year. Can that guy we draft in the first couple of rounds of this draft, if it's a nose tackle, will he be a guy who can step up there and give us the help we need at the run stopping side, even over the pass rushing? Because we know when we pass rush, it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. We know inside it's going to be a lot of Dorrance Armstrong and a lot of DeMarcus Lawrence, and if not Dorrance Armstrong, you're going to have Osa in there. You're not going to use the guy we're drafting in these pass rushing downs, at least not what we've seen the last 2 years from Dan Quinn. That's what he brings his edges inside, and we have Micah and somebody else on the outside. This time I think it'll be Micah and Sam Williams up on the opposite sides of each other, with guys like Armstrong and DeMarcus Lawrence inside on those pass rushing downs. So we really need a run stopping specialist. Ika is that. Benton can do both. Mozzie Smith can do both. We'll see. There's the top 3 rounds you're looking at there if you want to solidify that interior, and I do.
So, but yeah, let me go ahead and do the final shout-outs here of the night. Ready Red, Stephen White, much love, Mike Aldana, Bruce got the Toxic Juice, Drums and Cowboys, much love, Scorpio, representing, of course, Burn Bar, in the house, much love as well, Stephen White, we have Ready Red, John Womack, Eric Wallace, let me see, Aztec Aguilar 04, Meatball Ron.
Meatball in the house.
We have NDM Boogie, much love to you. Let me see, I see Beast Mode, Snug X, of course, Tammy Soltis, Scorpio, Drums and Cowboys, Mark Hosepian.
Mark and that.
We have Monroe Gadet, Mark Smith, Bama fan. It's as far back as I can go. Jorge Hernandez, have a great night. So all of you guys, seriously, thank you so much for hanging with us here, chilling with us. But baby, why do we do what we do?
We're wearing it. It's that navy blue. That's silver too. That's star. Always over everything, guys. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. You know how we do this here, guys. There's always that star over everything. Here on this channel, My Cowboys Family, for almost 6 years, maybe beyond. We'll see. Never forget the number one reason why we do this thing on the nightly. Don't forget the number one thing here on My Cowboys Family, here, now, and forever. As always, say it loud, say it proud, say it with us. Never forget. Go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. 5 is always greater than 1, Philly. Never forget that. On that note, you guys in the chat, dropping the knowledge all night long. Thank you for the back and forth. You guys dropping the love from above tonight. It was a Sunday rematch here. Snug X winning that one and taking this week's, prizes, so to speak. Mark Hosepian currently in the lead this week. Much love to Mark. Much love to Snug from Sunday and from this new week and beyond. Thank you guys for the drops of love. And now it's time to drop out and clock out officially here. It's a little over 2 hours of another My Cowboys Family live stream. We'll try maybe be back tomorrow. If not, definitely Thursday, but it'll be either Wednesday or Thursday. So, it'll get us on one of those days. And we got the weekend to get ready for this draft, which is next week on Thursdays. I can't wait. So, baby, before we can drop out of here, clock out of here for the night, tell everybody what we got to do here on MCF as we get ready to say bye and drop out for the night. What do you got to do?
We got to drop the beat.
Yeah, guys, that's what we got. Bare bones this thing now because of YouTube. Thank you all for your love and support, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow, definitely by Thursday, but I think we'll be back tomorrow for another one here on MCF on April 19th. Live stream. It might be a little shorter than this one. Either way, guys, appreciate everybody here. Hit that thumbs up, the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, grow the channel. Thank you all. We'll be back tomorrow for another one right here on My Cowboys Family. And never, ever forget the number one thing here now and forever, as always, our Cowboys!